All right, we have made it to Friday. It is the 20th day of March, 2026, and it is B&C, but a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit of a different look, different sound, different feel, right? On this Friday to close out the week. It is not B&C. It is D&T. It is Dan and my friend Ty here on ESPN New York for the next, not one, not two, but 3 big hours right up until 1 o'clock this afternoon. My guy, how the hell are you?
Yo, man, I'm proud of you, bro. You've been fighting through it all week. They got you doing mornings, you're doing nights, you're on television. You don't make excuses. You just show up. So, listen.
I make excuses. You may not hear them, but I make a lot of excuses. Are you kidding me?
But you still
you
show
think
up.
I just go at this quietly and go about my business? No.
And the versatility. You're working with Rick. You're working with Bart. You're working with me. You're doing the Rangers pregame. It's just, you are a very talented man. And also, Filthy Rich, I got to look at some of the wings of your place because we were on the FaceTime chat before the show. Dan Grassa rolling in the Benjamins, baby.
Benjamin? I don't know who this Benjamin is. I haven't met him in a while.
You've carved out quite the life for yourself.
I don't know about that. I don't know how many people would sign for that one. You know, maybe somebody would run from it. I don't know about the other alternative. But how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. If we can stay away from talking about my pathetic football team, that will keep me in the best mood over the next 3 hours.
Now, what team is that?
The team that I used to do their broadcast with you on Sundays from 9 a to 7 p. Those were some long days. We fought through it.
Those are long days, and yeah, I mean that's not going to change. Definitely, that's part of the whole Sunday experience or whatever. But so you're down in the dumps, huh? You're down in the dumps.
It's just hard to lift me up at this point. It's hard for me to get up, if you know what I mean.
Here's what I'll say. It's March 20th, right? And I'm not just saying this about you. I'm saying this about any fan out there who's down on their team right now, current state of affairs. It's March the 20th, man.
First day of spring, right?
Yes, that's right. Happy spring to everybody out there. So it's still going to probably be a little cold until God knows when. But, you know, we had that tease last week where it was 80 degrees for a few days, which is probably what put me, you know, on death's door the way I was feeling, you know, when the weather goes from like 80 to snowing from, you know, one day to the next. But nevertheless, no, but, I mean, we are really just like in the infancy of this offseason. We still have the draft, which is the big mover and shaker, which is a month away. And then, you know, there's still moves and things that happen once you get into, like, mini camps and OTAs and things like that nature. We are a long ways away from having this thing actually kick off for real.
So you're saying that, and I thought to myself, what if I heard that before? Oh, that's right. I've heard that the last 15 years, and we see how that's gone. So I appreciate you trying to like usher in some like spring optimism.
Well, I'm just
dead.
trying to be level-headed. That's all I'm trying to be.
Listen. Here's the deal, Dan. Yeah. I wish that because I was listening to the morning show. Shout out Rick and Dave. They were at the Pickleball Madness. Did they
play pickleball yet, or that happens now?
I think that's happening now.
Is it in our best interest during the show? Yeah.
Is it in our best interest to promote that because that's like happening simultaneous?
Yeah, because I don't think that anybody's, you know, going to be able to I think if you were going to the pickleball thing, like you've made up your mind already you're going to it. Like it's been promoted for about like 17 years. So I think people have had it on their calendar like, oh, today's the day, March 20th, Pickleball Madness, I'm going to be be
But what if you're home?
This is already in the calendar.
But what if you're not there? You're like, do I decide between listening to my guys Dan and Ty, or do I want to watch Rick and Dave play pickleball?
Well, the beauty of it is you take the ESPN New York app, which you could do both.
Ooh, wow.
You could even have the darn show in your ear while you're playing pickleball. I mean, if you're really good, if you could like walk and chew gum at the same time, like you could do something like that.
If you really want to, you can dual screen this show and the Rickable.
Okay.
Tom, you're like an evil genius when you bring that type of information to the forefront. So what are you saying right now? Is that like you could – this is on the YouTube, right?
That's right. If you're on a browser like a laptop or something like that, or you can plug something into a smart TV or something like that and have one on the laptop or phone, you can watch one on the TV, listen to us however you want.
Yeah, when Tom started like throwing out those technological alternatives, he just turned into like Charlie Brown's teacher in my head. All I heard was like, like that's not my strong suit, you know.
Well, what I was gonna say was, like I envy Dave because he is so high on the Giants. As I was listening to him this morning,
Yeah.
like he has like locked them into they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, and I just wish that I had that kind of excitement for my team.
Well, let me
And I
ask you a
don't.
question. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
And
Shoot.
and I have not talked to Dave about this, to be quite honest with you. In his heart of hearts, you inject him with truth serum. You put him in a room and put those hot lights on him in the corner and try to sweat it out of him, right, to get the truth, the details. You think push comes to shove, life on the line, he really and truly believes that?
I do.
You do?
Because
Okay.
I think that when you go from being just completely obliterated by like how bad they were, and you're dead inside, this wasn't just resuscitation. It's we got a Hall of Fame head coach and now in theory a quarterback who we saw for 12 games last year look pretty good. I think that kind of injection of life just sent him so far in the other direction. Look, I disagree with him, but I also envy feeling that way, him feeling that way. I wish that I could be someone with a football team that gives me
Well,
that kind of optimism.
Here's the closest thing I can compare it to, right? And I probably not probably I would probably say close to certainly. I probably felt something similar to what he was feeling, but I was a lot younger gentleman. Hell, I was still an academic back in those days. It was a long time ago. But it was probably in, early 1997 when Bill Parcells took over the Jets.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, how old were you then? Were you in, January of 97 or February of 97? You were what?
So that actually is important. Is it January or February? That's important.
Either or. I can't remember when he was actually introduced or hired because he had the Patriots in the Super Bowl in January of 97. Down at the Superdome in New Orleans, they lost to Desmond Howard, Brett Favre, Reggie White, and the Green Bay Packers. So then the whole press conference, my guess is the press conference had to be in February of 97 where he was
Okay, so you would be correct. I
I
just looked it up. The reason why that's important is because my birthday's in February, so I was 4 years old at the time.
Okay. So you obviously have no recollection of that. Now, let me put you in the time machine and take you back to those days. And I was a very, very early, that was year one college, for crying out loud, right? Very early in the winter or the spring semester. So pre-internet days. So I'm like sitting there out on an island. You're getting all this information secondhand. I'll never forget where I was when I found out that it was happening. But that time in the NFL, the Jets, I understand they've been, struggling for the last 15 years, whatever it was. To me, now this was a longer period of time that they're experiencing right now. What they were coming off of those 2 years in 95 and 96 under the Rich Kotite stewardship, that was as bad as maybe anything in pro sports. I mean, it was just you had no confidence that things were going to get better anytime soon. Think about it, winning 4 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
4 games in 2 years.
That's hard to do.
And so back then he was arguably considered the best coach in the league, right? And Bill Parcells. He was a program builder. Won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. Went up to New England when New England was as bad as probably the Jets were. We're talking about bad teams. Their home games up there were blacked out on local television. That's how bad they were because they weren't selling tickets. And within a couple of years, he had them in the playoffs. Few years after that, or 3 years in or whatever, they're in the Super Bowl. You're thinking, wow, this guy's the Messiah. And then he takes over the Jets. And if you're a Jet fan and you had no sort of success, no winning, no nothing, you're thinking, that's going to be us. He's coached 2 other teams. He's taken them to the Super Bowl. We're going to be there. It's happening. And then what happens the first year? They go from 1 win to 9 wins, which is unheard of. 1 win to 9 wins and almost should have made the playoffs that first year. But nevertheless, so I was extremely, and all Jet fans were optimistic because you got a guy who was the program builder in the NFL running your team. If I'm a Giant fan, maybe Harbaugh not on that Parcells-esque level, but he's a program builder. He's a proven winner, and that's why if I'm somebody like Dave, I'm probably confident that if I give this guy a 5-year window, maybe good things like getting back to a Super Bowl could happen.
But it's not just getting back. He said they're going to win the Super Bowl in 5 years. And look, are they going to be better? Obviously, it's hard to be as bad as they were.
Right. There's
the
only
last
one way
couple
to
of
go,
years.
and that's up, right?
Yeah, under Dable. So you've improved that head coach. You've gotten it right at quarterback. In theory, we only saw 12 games, but that's trending in the right direction. And then from a team building standpoint, you just feel better about where the Giants are now compared to where they were last year. I get all that, Dan. They've got 10 teams they have to jump in the NFC. And pretending like it's just that easy, snap your finger, we're in the Super Bowl and winning. It's crazy for someone who is as passionate and as knowledgeable about this league as he is. I just think that it's insane to just bake them into they're gonna win. Because think about would you have more confidence in the Chiefs in the next 5 years? Yes. The Ravens, yes. There are a bunch. If we're drafting teams to win the Super Bowl in the next 5 years, how many teams before we get to the Giants?
Things change. See, here's why I don't get too carried away with stuff like that, right? Is that from one year to the next in the NFL, especially nowadays, things change in a heartbeat. You don't know what up is down is up, who's good, who's bad. Like, you just don't. Now, unfortunately, here in New York with our teams here,
yes.
Like they haven't been part of that equation, unfortunately. They've just stayed in one direction, which is not what you aspire to be. By the way, I'm distracted. Shout out. The great Chuck Norris has passed away.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. He was hospitalized yesterday. I saw that.
He was hospitalized during the show yesterday, as a matter of fact, in Hawaii.
And
so thoughts and prayers to Walker, Texas Ranger. And
86.
Yeah, he was, think about it, man. He was doing Total Gym for a long time, right?
Yeah, man.
He was doing them Total Gym commercials probably till he was like 80.
And so yesterday was like just a medical emergency?
That supposedly, yeah. So I don't know what happened, but Chuck Norris, an icon.
Absolutely.
Cameo in Dodgeball, right?
Yes.
Was the inspiration to, Average Joe's winning in Dodgeball.
Yes, absolutely.
There's no Average Joe's without Chuck Norris. So thoughts and prayers, shout out the great Chuck Norris, man. What were we talking about? No. So in our pre-show today, like I was even saying, look at a team like the New England Patriots. Okay, what did they do? They hired a good coach who, by the way, there were still some people at his previous stop that thought that he was an overrated, not very good coach in Mike Vrabel, which I thought was silly. You hire Vrabel, you hit it out of the park in free agency, your young quarterback takes another big step in year number 2. You put all those ingredients together, you go from 3 wins to a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's going to happen to the Giants in 2026, but this program is going to get better. It's going to show marked improvement, I feel.
Dan, I am not disagreeing with that premise. What I am simply saying is they're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 5 years. It's crazy because the Patriots, you just use them as the example. They didn't win the Super Bowl. They did not win.
No, but let me ask you a question. Forget about Super Bowl. Only one team could win the Super Bowl.
I think they're going to be better. Can I just say this real quick? They're going to be better. I am high on the Giants. I'm high on Jackson Dart. I think they're going to be better. Next couple years, obviously, playoff contender, all of that. I am not shortchanging them. I'm just saying if the take is they're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 5 years, I vehemently disagree with it because I think you're just underrating how hard it is to do that.
Don't you think that – well, the thing with a Super Bowl, don't you think you have to have a certain amount of luck to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Right?
The Patriots, right? Their schedule last year.
Just getting there, staying healthy, even stuff that happens along the way in the playoffs, right? I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm not trying to throw cold water on the Patriots. It's unbelievable what they did last year, like going from where they were to where they ended up. But they got some breaks along the way, did they not? They got to play an AFC championship game on the road against a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen to most teams.
I mean, Dan, look at the Seahawks. They were a whisker away from losing that division, which would have put them on the road the entire time, and maybe they don't get to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So you need breaks along the way. But my point is let's not forget, the previous year, the Patriots had been in the woods. And if you're a Jet fan and everybody that was tired, and really an NFL fan, if you were tired of the Patriots for 20 years basically running the sport, like they went through a 2-3 year period there, Belichick's last year, and then you go into the Gerard Mayo disaster, and you're thinking to yourself, boy, this is, I like this. This is now, let the Patriots feel like what the rest of us have felt like for the last 20 years, right? Like being completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
You thought that they were. And then just 1 year like that, they're back to the Patriots being, the standard again. And you're like, were they ever down in the dumps? Do you know what I mean? So that's how, fast things can change again in the general perception. All it takes is winning just even a small amount to just, you think to yourself, man, this is an organization that knows what they're doing. How does that happen around here?
It doesn't. Unless you're the Jets or the Browns. Those things just... To go 15 years without making the playoffs. I wonder if you were able to put together a futures bet back in 2010. The Jets are going to go the next they're coming off of an AFC Championship appearance where they were right there to win it. If Big Ben doesn't make that play on 3rd and 6, the Jets defense gets to stop. That offense was humming at that point. If at that moment you're able to put a futures bet in, they're going to go 15 years without ever getting back to the playoffs. What does that pay out?
That would have paid out pretty handsomely, actually.
I'd be living in your house right now.
remember Rex Ryan, even the next year in training camp, he signed that bus. Remember, was it the ESPN bus, Super Bowl champions or something like that?
Yeah. And look, they were right there to make the playoffs. Ruin my Christmas Eve. I'll never forget that one with the Victor Cruz thing.
That game, think about it. That Christmas Eve, that's another bet. You could have sat there. If I would have told you, that Christmas Eve basically set the trajectory of where things would go for the next 15 years.
And how perfect is it, though, that the Jets end up losing that game. They don't make the playoffs after that point. The Giants go on a run and win the Super Bowl. It's just it's a perfect way to describe the dichotomy between these two organizations. To your point, if it is going to happen for a team to have that kind of a turnaround, it would be the Giants, just because of the culture, the history, and everything that's favorable that tends to happen to them every now and again.
Well, and also again, I'm going to keep coming back to Harbaugh for a second. That's why. Football, you would agree, right? Football, opposed to all the other sports, the coaching probably matters the most.
Absolutely.
You know what 100%. I mean? So, you can hire a coach, and that could change things like that. And there's only a handful of those guys that still exist, I think, in the league right now, or that have proven themselves to be of that ilk in the league. John Harbaugh is one of those guys. I think his brother's one of those guys.
But
right?
I guarantee you, if we are doing this show in Baltimore right now, the retort would be, all right, but we get to a big game, fourth quarter, 3-point lead. How many coaches in this spot are you taking over John Harbaugh? Because there's a reason why he got fired. And I'm not trying to crush him today. He's an excellent coach, a Hall of Famer. The Giants hit it out the park with him. But what I'm simply saying is when you bring up coaching and how it comes down to, in these big games, within the margins, pushing the right buttons, he has consistently shown with an MVP at quarterback who hasn't played his best in the playoffs. But John has made some questionable decisions that have cost his team playoff games. And that has to be the concern, too. When we're talking about winning the Super Bowl.
I think, though, you know what the weird thing? Well, I'll tell you another guy. Now he's the gold standard. He's considered the gold standard. Think about all the criticisms there were of Andy Reid in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now think about it. He had a great run in Philadelphia. He was there for, off the top of my head, 15 years, something like that. He went to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Andy lost a ton of conference championship games. Conference championship games in his own building where his team was the favorite. And those were considered bad losses. Right?
Clock management issues.
That Andy Reid is still this Andy Reid who now, like I said, is like the Messiah when it comes to football. Okay, he can't do no wrong. He's the most innovative. He's the most well-prepared. Clock management, shoot, he could be asleep and he could manage the clock better than anybody else.
He's going to
it's
turn
funny
Justin
how the narrative
Fields'
changes.
career around. He's going to turn Justin Fields' career around. That's how high we now have gotten on Andy. But, Dan, if you're telling me, if the take is Jackson Dart is the next Patrick Mahomes, and all right, you got it. The Giants, they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Well, no,
that's your take.
The point I was trying to make was this. You brought up Baltimore. I say the same thing, and I've said the same thing the last few years about Pittsburgh. I don't want to hear, and if you're a New York fan, Jets, Giant, whatever, you don't want to hear from Ravens fans. You don't want to hear from Steelers fans. Like all that garbage that we heard about Mike Tomlin the last few years, how Steeler fans were like, you know what, they got to get rid of this guy. It's time to move on. I'm sick and tired of making the playoffs and not winning a playoff game. Like, spare me with that. You know? Hold the mayo. I don't need to hear that stuff. A New York football fan doesn't want to hear about entitled, pompous fans who just get tired of making the playoffs every year when a New York football fan has been wandering through the desert for the last 15 years looking for a damn sip of water. You know what I'm saying?
And then you get it, and it's like, this is not Dasani. But, hey, you know what this sounds a lot like?
I don't like Dasani, by the way. That's
really?
on like the water power rankings, that's kind of like down a peg.
So where does that fall on your water power rankings?
Give me choices, because you have a lot. Like,
all right, so Essential Pure Life. I'm doing a quick search of like the 10 best waters.
I'm a big Essentia guy. I have like a stash of that.
Fiji.
Fiji's okay. Fiji's a little highbrow, in my opinion.
You
know what's terrible? I'll tell you what's
Smart water.
Smart's very good. You know what's the worst? I could give you the worst hands down.
Don't say
not
tap.
even close. It sounds like it tastes like you're drinking liquid soap.
Okay, hit me.
Evian.
Really?
Yeah. Oh.
But you know why this conversation falls short on me? I'm a big tap water guy. Like, I fill my water bottle here. This one, it's just tap water. Now it's purified.
You don't filter that
right?
stuff. You'll get
it's
like
filtered.
kidney stones.
I have. I have the filtered.
I don't need you like hunched over during the show. I need you to help me land this plane before 1 o'clock, bro.
No, it goes through the filter. I've got the jug in the fridge, and I think you got to change it out like every 6 weeks or so. But I'm a big tap water guy. But it's on brand for you to be the privilege. I need my certain brands of water.
Yeah.
That's
I'm pretty open, like I said, when it comes to that stuff. But I could tell you hands down, but without a shadow of a doubt, Evian is the worst. If I had my druthers,
so
the worst.
When we have one of our, you'll be at the beach bash. And we do one of these competitions, and the loser has to do this. We'll have you chug Evian water.
You know what the unfortunate part about it is? Like, obviously, I'm a tennis guy. I love, go to the U.S. Open. Evian's the official water of the U.S. Open. So, any water you're getting on the grounds is Evian. And at the end of the summer, when it's held, it's like 118 degrees, give or take, when you go out there. So, you need to stay hydrated, and, that's what you got to drink. So even when it's cold, it still leaves something to be desired.
So it sounds like, and I love how we're just going everywhere, this new combo at Citi Field with the 9 hot dogs, 9 beers thing, what would be tougher for you? 9 cups of Evian water. Tougher than the 9 beers.
Especially if it's warm, like room temperature, forget it. By the way, the one that they got going on at Citi Field, and for those who don't know, it's like the 999 challenge for baseball, which is 9 hot dogs, 9 beers in 9 innings, right?
9 glizzies, straight down the throat.
Straight down. Here's the problem, though. Not a problem, but I've seen some pictures of the one that the Mets are doing at Citi Field this year. It comes in almost like a container already, kind of packaged.
Yeah.
The hot dogs don't look like your standard regulation size hot dog. They're kind of almost like little cocktail weenies, if you will. So they're a little bit smaller. And the beers are not your normal size beers. They're kind of in these little paper cup kind of things. It's almost like baby's first beer. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really getting the full allotment of what the whole premise of the concept was supposed to maybe kick off. So let's put it this way, it's more manageable than maybe what the original incarnation was supposed to be.
The glizzies aren't long enough for you. I'm able to guzzle 35 glizzies the way I would have back in the day. But no, Tom, let's listen to what Dan just said. What he just described is he is in a situation where the glizzies aren't long enough for him. So I think we need to take note of that.
Interesting.
Guzzling those glizzies as the buns are being wet. Well, he's wetting the buns with the glizzies going down his throat.
You've said a lot of absurd things about glizzies in the past, Ty.
I'm just a fan of the glizzy conversation.
I'm gonna send you a picture right now, as a matter of fact, and then you tell me
miniature glizzies.
You'll check it out during the break, but right now we got to get a break, actually, and we want to get some calls up here at 800-919-3776. We got a lot of stuff to get into today. We'll have more football conversation. We will get into, and we haven't even talked about it yet, the March Madness NCAA tournament. Day one produced some excitement. You had a couple of upsets, a couple of big leads that were blown, a couple of big leads that were almost blown. St. John's plays tonight. Hofstra and LIU are in action today. We're going to break it all down with our good buddy Chris Spatola, ESPN basketball analyst, coming up at 11:30 this morning. We got all the trimmings here that we do on the show. Tom, what are we doing? A little sideline to sideline today and all that stuff?
Oh, you bet we are.
Doing sideline to sideline. Are we doing an audio files as well? Is that in the cards?
Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
We're going to do an audio files. We'll have some – there is some fallout still. There is still some fallout from the World Baseball Classic, which we have to get into in addition. Plus, the Knicks are back in action tonight. They're playing that semi-pro team in Brooklyn. It is Dan, it is Ty, it is B and C right here on ESPN New York.
Real talk for a second, right? If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, or joint pain, and you've just tired of having to push through it, I've been there. It's help. That's why I want to tell you guys about Dr. J. Shaw at Samwell Pain. This is not a place that gives you surgery. It's not a place that gives you a bunch of pills and say, call me later place. Dr. Shaw is an Ivy League trained, double board certified, and he focuses on non-surgical, image-guided treatments that actually fix the problem. No downtime, no scars, no long recovery. They got same-day and next-day appointments. Offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, so it's one closer to you. Check them out, SamwellPain.com. Stop dealing with pain and start doing something about it.
The NBA moves fast, and the stars move faster. With DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, you're never a step behind. DraftKings keeps pace with every play, offering industry-leading live betting, dynamic odds that shift as the game unfolds, and more open markets more often. They're live when others aren't, so you're always in the game when it matters most. Get in on the action with live player props as the most exciting performances unfold in real time. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WHSQ. That's code WHSQ. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply.
Delays now on the southbound BQE westbound 278 by the Williamsburg Bridge. An accident blocking the right lane. The LIE westbound at Queens Boulevard. A broken out car on the shoulder. Cross Bronx westbound southbound 95 near the Bruckner. It's an accident. And northbound 95 New England Thruway portion by Chatsworth Avenue in Larchmont. An accident blocking the right lane by exit 17. Massapequa Sunrise Highway just past Broadway. Accident blocking one lane. New Jersey Transit. All mass transit looking okay. And pretty quiet at all the Hudson River crossings. I'm Bob Williams on 880 ESPN New York.
Hi, I'm John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. You know what's interesting about the words personal injury? The first word is person. And at D'Agostino & Associates, that word means everything. That's because I handpick every person in our firm, from the pleasant professional person who answers your call to the experienced person litigating your case in court. Because every person in my firm is an extension of me. And the only way to exceed our clients' expectations is to deliver the highest level of personal service every single time. And that starts with hiring the right people. You see, we know that every client is a person too. Someone going through the toughest time in their lives and deserves to be more than just a file number. At D'Agostino & Associates, we put the person back in personal injury. So call 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222 and ask for me, John D'Agostino, and let's talk about your case, person to person. D'Agostino, law, bite back.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Rings End is your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. They're your store for quality with a full line of brilliant and durable Benjamin Moore paints. They're your store for inspiration with thousands of colors and a variety of sheens. And Rings End is your store for expertise with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. Insist on Benjamin Moore paint from Rings End, because the gorgeous color you love can't be matched in another brand of paint.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2026 Mazda CX-30 2.5S preferred all-wheel drive for just $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN TM108368. MSRP $31,435. Zero security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million every year for life. That's enough money to say, bring it on, the future. I will have that guacamole at any price.
Play the new Millionaire for Life today. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Adam Schefter here. It's tournament time, when only the most talented teams survive in advance. And whether you're cutting down the nets or cutting through resumes, one thing's clear. The best teams are built with the best people. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. Their smart matching technology finds qualified candidates fast. You can add screening questions to get the right applicants and even filter to see who's recently active. Score the best for your team with ZipRecruiter. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
Harry Douglas here. Game day brings the excitement. Your stay should feel just as memorable. With Marriott Bonvoy, official hotel partner of the NCAA and U.S. Soccer, you're connected to a portfolio of brands designed for how you travel. Some offer complimentary breakfast, others give you room to spread out, space to stay productive, or extended stay comforts. So whether you're a traveling fan or part of the team, Marriott Bonvoy celebrates the moments that live on before and after the game. Marriott Bonvoy, where game day checks in.
Subscribe to ESPN New York on YouTube. Stream the full weekday lineup live. Watch complete replays or catch up fast with can't-miss highlights. Jump into the live chat. React in real time. Make your voice part of the show. Subscribe to ESPN New York on YouTube right now. Stay locked in so you never miss a moment. 800-919-3776, the telephone number. Dan and Ty hanging out with you here on B&C on this Friday. Before we get to the phone calls, and a lot of people want to chime in, did you do a bracket? Did you fill out a bracket?
Yes, I did. And I'm not one of these frauds who fills out multiple brackets. I did do one, and nothing quite serves as a warm welcome to March Madness as having your bracket busted in the first game, because I had Ohio State.
The first game?
Yeah, Ohio State.
Well, I mean, when you say busted, I mean, how far did you have Ohio State going?
Well, it's busted.
Unless you had them going to the Final Four, that's not.
It's busted because I got the game incorrect, and it's my first game.
But to me, busted, like when I hear busted for the bracket, that implies that you had a team going, like I said, deep, like the Final Four, the championship game, or winning the whole thing, and then they're out in the first couple rounds. That's when the bracket's busted. You rip it up and throw it in the toilet.
I did have UNC, I think, getting to the Sweet 16.
That's still not crushing. But you lost. But again, the Ohio State game, that's an 8-9. An 8-9 is a coin flip, right? It's essentially a coin flip.
And I was mad at
TCU did all they could to try to blow that game too. They were up 15 at the half and hung on for dear life. Good for them.
I was mad at myself too, because I was listening to I think it was Dave who said, like, take TCU. Like, I feel really good about them, and I went against it. I took Ohio State anyway.
Yeah, the ironic part of it, contrast the styles in that game. Like, TCU's known for their defense, Ohio State more up-tempo, and so you would think if you give a defensive team a 15-point lead that they'd be able to hunker down and win it, but
that didn't work
almost
out.
Blew it. The reason I ask you is because on the ESPN website, like their bracket challenge, right, they had 26,567,846 entries into the bracket challenge. Do you know how many of them are still intact after day one?
Let's go.
After 26.5 million entries. Take a guess.
Man. Still intact after day one. We had a couple of upsets yesterday.
They're
I'm going to go
16-0.
16-0. Let's go with 25.
10,754.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
That's shocking, man.
Well, it's not shocking because remember, like there are people that probably fill out multiples, so they just take flyers and eeny, meeny, miny, mo and stuff like that. And remember, like by the letter of the law, I'm looking at it now. I don't even know like what was considered by the point spread the biggest upset of day one. But, I mean, if you're looking at like the Wisconsin high point, which a lot of people think, like a lot of it, like I was actually like, should I pull the trigger? Like High Point is the longest active winning streak in the nation. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that they might pull the upset, but I thought, nah, you know what? They'll keep it interesting, but Wisconsin will find a way. And Wisconsin had an 8-point lead with 7 minutes left in the game. Right?
5 minutes left to go. They were up 8.
To me, Wisconsin lost it more than High Point won it. So my point is like you could have made an argument for maybe taking that. The 12-5 usually has an upset. Now, if Duke would have lost and they were in trouble there for a while, then that would have been like catastrophic.
I think that was the first time a 1 seed had a double-digit deficit against a 16 seed at halftime, which I found to be shocking. Because in that UMBC upset, didn't UMBC win by 20?
No, I don't think it was. Was it a 20-point win?
I thought it was like, I don't know why I remember 74-54.
Did they pull away late maybe?
Maybe. I mean, it has to be that because the broadcast said it was the first time a 1 seed had a double-digit deficit at halftime against a 16 seed.
So we can look that up. But, you know, if it is, God, no, but look, nobody wants that.
74-54.
Why do I not remember it being that lopsided?
Yeah, 74-54.
But remember, it served Virginia well because they used that as fuel because the next year they came back and won a national championship.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, there you go. That's day one. And you got the locals in action today, St. John's, LIU, Hofstra. And we'll talk to our buddy Chris Spatola coming up at 11:30 to break it all down for you here on this fine program. You want to get some calls up here? What do you think?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do some calls, and we're going to start with our buddy Ira in Staten Island. He's first up here on ESPN New York. Ira, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Ty. And, you know, I know where Dave's coming from, and I definitely I value his optimism there. You got the quarterback. You got a head coach, but it is hard to predict it. But I know why he's thinking that way. And then with the Jet situation, and even though I do feel a little bit better, I still have a lot of work to do. But comparing 95 and 96, the last season, I understand the total of wins were 4 games in 2 years. I completely understand that. But this year, the last 5 games being outscored like about 190 to 50, whatever it is, all right? At times this year, they didn't even look like an NFL team. And I know Colts got blown out. I understand there were some ugly games. But at least they looked like a professional football team at times. This year with the Jets, after the first couple of games, they were non-competitive. And that's why I think it was a lot worse this year than it was in 95 and 96.
Well, here's the difference, though. This year, they made no bones about, or this past year, especially those last 5 games of the season, they really didn't make any bones about it. They weren't trying to win, right? To justify starting Brady Cook for those last 5 games, you couldn't sit there and tell me, right? I mean, let's be real. You know this.
That's true.
The second year with Kotite, which is also one of the reasons why Parcells won 9 games his first year. The second year with Kotite, they went out and put together what they thought was a competitive team for 96. Remember, they spent a bunch of money. Jumbo Elliott, David Williams, Jeff Graham in free agency, Neil O'Donnell. They drafted Keyshawn first overall. So on paper, that was like you had decent players you were trotting out there, but they were just so horribly coached, and that's why they went 1-15. And for those who don't remember, the starting quarterback for the only game they won in 1996 was none other than Frank Reich.
That's right, and that's the game Adrian Moreau, I think he would 190 or 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, in Arizona against I think they were still the Phoenix Cardinals then.
And I think it was at a college stadium that game.
Arizona State, yeah, they still played at Sun Devil Stadium then. That was a long time ago.
It's crazy, but, you know, listen, I do listen. The quarterback hasn't been answered yet. I am happy with the Geno move, but I think it looks a lot better at this time roster-wise than it did last year at this time roster-wise.
It better.
As Ty said, it better. And Ira, thanks for the call. Look, and when you've been as down as they've been for now 15 years, right? No playoffs, 1 winning season. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. I can't sit here and spin them a different way. You don't want to hear about patience anymore. Some people might just be, numb to it, and they're just like, well, okay, what's going to be any different? But yeah, what I like about the moves is that they aren't doing, let's say, what they tried to do in, I'm going to just bring up 1996 again, where 95, they stripped it down, they were bad, they won 3 games. Second year, they were like, well, this ain't going to fly. Let's go out there and pretend like we're going to try to be good again. And they went like crazy, spending money, bringing in veterans, this and that. They didn't do that this time around because they're not going to bog themselves down with long-term contracts, expense. See, like the older players they signed this offseason, as you know, they're really short-term deals.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like you're talking about, oh, man, in 3-4 years when this guy's, 58 years old, like I can't believe we're still going to have his contract on the books when he can't even walk anymore. It's not like that. It's all short-term, and with all this draft capital they have over the next 2 years, you want to inject as much young, controllable talent onto this football team while you hope to grow whenever you get your young quarterback of the future here.
Yeah, and for the veterans like Davis and Fitzpatrick, it's also leadership, right? Because I was talking to Rich Cimini on my show last week, and his takeaway was that defense just didn't have any leadership. Like there was no strong voice, and one of the concerning things for me, Dan, was the defense wasn't on paper bad. Like that was not supposed to be a bad defense. It felt like a lot of those guys who were holdovers underperformed. I watched Robert Saleh take a bunch of these dudes and get them to a top 5 defense, whereas last year they were the worst in football in a lot of metrics. And so I don't know what that is. Was that the lack of him and Wilkes being on the same page as far as their defensive coaching philosophy? Guys just after the 0-7 start just kind of mailed it in. I don't know what it was, but I do expect them to be better on that side of the ball this year because they brought in some new faces and they have that veteran leadership aspect to it.
Well, we talked about it going into the season. Like the consensus was the defense was going to be ahead of the offense, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't know what the offense was going to be because Justin Fields was a wild card. They were going to try to be a run-heavy centric offense. But the defense, you could at least lean on and say, all right, coach that side of the ball up. They'll keep you in games. You hope, right?
How'd that work out?
It was bad. It was. I mean, there's no other way around it.
Gashed. Gashed. It was embarrassing. It got to points 2 series in. You're like, this game's over. Like they've got no shot.
Look, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It was terrible. But again, now you have, and what's remarkable to me, forget about, like I brought up the fact that, look at that team, Rodgers' first year. What year was that?
23.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about that. Go back and check out that defense that year in 23, which was considered to be one of the best defenses in the league, right? Had a lot of talent on that side of the ball, young players, veterans. Even, remember, you had dudes like Bryce Huff coming off the bench who was a double-digit sack guy. And now he's in a post-football crusade to rid the world of lithium-ion batteries. So guys like Mike Brownshire can't ride his scooter to work every single day, which, that's a flex move. But I like Bryce. He was a great dude. So think about it. Like, you had all that talent on that side of the ball from 2023 to now, which is, 3 years? They're all gone.
Yeah.
There was 10, 11 guys on that defense that you were like, okay, that's a good player, that's a good player. They're all gone in 3 years. Fast forward to last year. As disappointing as it was, go look at the week 1 starting defense last year to what week 1 is going to look like this year. There's at least going to be 7, 8 new starters on that side of the ball.
Well, for better,
so the only thing that surprises me a little bit, and they're trying to make up for lost time now, you would think when you see Harbaugh doing it with the Giants. When a new coach goes in and takes over a program, he's going to bring in some guys, coaches, whatnot that he has familiarity with. They really didn't do that last year.
And it shocked all of us at the time that they didn't do that. There were all these names they were linked to, and it just didn't happen. And so here's an exercise, and I know we got to get to some more calls. I sometimes like to drown myself in misery. So maybe 2 months ago, I went back and watched highlights of Game 5 of the 2024 World Series, Yankees-Dodgers. I just want to relive it. I don't know why. I just want to make myself miserable.
Go back. If you want to be miserable, go back and watch Game 1 because that's when the series was lost, not Game 5.
Well, listen, I heard you do this the other day. If they win that game, and we're on a tangent here, if they win that game, the Dodgers have a bullpen game in Game 6, so it's not out of question.
Series was
the
over.
Yankees take that and go to Game 7. We can argue about that later. I went through the Jets 2022 draft, and it's like Sauce, Garrett, Jermaine, Brees, like you just hit home runs on your first 4 picks. How does that not translate to win? It's crazy to sit here and live through. They had that draft and still sucked. Like, it's amazing.
Well, the first 2 of those years, I mean, and again, we're going on a tangent. The first 2 of those years, 22 and 23, the quarterback you had the most confidence in got hurt both years. Mike White died in Buffalo in 2022, and then, of course, 4 plays in with Aaron in 23.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
then
what changed that.
What was it? The 20 draft, the Mekhi Becton draft, the Ashton Day, like that Denzel Mims, that was a disaster. So
you know who's had the most successful career in that 2020 draft?
Is it the punter?
Braden Mann.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion Braden Mann just signed a multi-year extension too with the Philadelphia Eagles. God bless him. He's a big. Braden Mann not a big guy either. He's not much bigger than like you or I. You know what? He's like a black belt or something in like jiu-jitsu or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those martial arts. You can check it out during the break. 800-919-3776. He'll kick your ass. Dan and Ty on a Friday here on ESPN New York.
5th-seeded St. John's kicks off their March Madness tournament in San Diego against 12th-seeded Northern Iowa. Coverage begins today at 7 on 1050 ESPN.
Hey, it's Michael K, and I love when I get to talk about my friends at PC Richard & Son. It's a local company, family-owned, and I trust them, and you should too. Right now, get tax season savings, up to 35% off select categories, plus save an additional 8.875% off hundreds of items throughout the store. And in-home delivery is free. Great savings, great service. It's what they do. Get tax season savings at PC Richard & Son today. Some exclusions apply. Free delivery on mattresses, $399 and up, excludes Manhattan.
Knicks fans, it's time for basketball, and the action starts on Sunday at Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden with Team ESPN New York and Ultra. Whether you need a pregame spot or you're looking for the right Knicks bar to watch the game versus the Wizards, Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden is your destination. The party tips off at 7 p.m. Team ESPN will be giving away ESPN, Ultra, and Knicks prizes. Join fellow Knicks fans on Sunday at 2919 24th Avenue in Astoria. Cheer on your Knicks, enjoy Ultra draft and bottle specials, and cool prizes all game long at Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden.
You remember what it feels like to move without thinking about pain? To get up, sit up, walk, work, or live without that constant ache? If neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica took that away from you, it's time to get it back. I'm Bart Scott. Dr. J. Shaw at Samwell Pain is the guy you need. Ivy League trained, double board certified, no surgery, no scars, no long recovery, just precise, image-guided, non-surgical treatments designed to get you feeling strong again. With offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, and most major insurances are accepted, there is no reason to wait. Go to SamwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think.
25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Check it in a year, check it in 5. This ain't Optimum 5, but price is still alive. 25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Get Optimum famously fast fiber internet. Optimum.com/25 for 5. Or call 8884-OPTIMUM. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
This is Rick Brunson, the assistant coach from the New York Knicks. I'll be driving to our games this season in style in my new Jeep Gladiator from Princeton Jeep. My friends at Princeton Jeep gave me all-star treatment, and you can expect the same thing. Just mention I sent you, and they'll treat you like family. Princeton Jeep has tons of inventory and great deals on new vehicles. Visit Princeton Jeep at 1045 State Road in Princeton, New Jersey, or online at PrincetonJeeps.com and tell them Rick Brunson sent you.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering 25% off windows and doors or 0% APR for 72 months. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It tastes just like the best birthday cake ever. Vanilla, buttery, frosting vibes. It's basically a party in a bottle. Confetti Craze makes it easy to turn any day into a party with its delicious birthday cake flavor and big birthday energy. And here's the best part. All cake, no sugar. I bring these tiny bottles everywhere to cakeify my day with tasty caffeine boosts. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
Step inside the game you love with the NBA app. Tap to watch every game as it's happening.
Does it again!
And never miss a moment of the jaw-dropping action. Get closer to the players than anywhere else. Follow the latest schedules, scores, and stats. Keep up with every story from across the league. And with NBA ID, it's all personalized to you. The game lives here. Download today.
All right, Dan and Ty, ESPN New York, here on this big Friday in the month of March. 800-919-3776. That is the telephone number. Let's get back to the busy phones, and let's say hi to our pal Derek in Hillside, who's up next here on ESPN New York. Derek, what is going on today, my friend?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Good to hear from you, D. What's going on?
Good to hear from y'all as well. First, I got to address this. All right, the first segment where y'all talking about all the Glizzy was getting real crazy. Ty, you the one that started it too. Like, you getting real filthy with it. But
listen,
I mean, I know y'all, it's all in good fun.
I like to push the envelope.
I was over here just kept saying pause. I'm like, man, Ty's out here wilding. But no, I like the fact y'all having fun though, man. I like the y'all dynamic together. But Ty, you the Jets fan, right?
I am, man. Die hard.
Look, one day somebody's going to open up one of you Jets fans' brains when y'all long pass and going to study y'all loyalty, man, because it's something out of this world. You've probably been living for as long as you have. How old are you, bro?
I'm 33.
You're 33, and you've never seen the Jets in the Super Bowl.
Well, remember, you have to be, you have to remember Neil Armstrong walking on the moon to see the Jets in the Super Bowl.
It's like the Jets fandom is like leaning on faith more than just fandom, man, at this point. It's like something I've never seen, but y'all hoping on it. But as a New Jerseyan, bro, I would love to see y'all in the Super Bowl, actually win one in my lifetime, man. But it's not going to come at the hands of Aaron Glenn, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, yo, Dan.
Well, I mean, this is going to be, Derek, this is going to be a big year, and thanks a lot for the phone call. And let's be real, because I don't think I'm breaking any news again, right? I can't imagine having a season that they had again and them not making any changes going into 2027. I just don't see how that's going to fly.
You know what I can see, though? And this is, I know people are going to laugh at me. Like Geno Smith, his last 4 years, what do those years look like? Pro Bowl, good season, and then
no, don't say Pro Bowl. Please don't say Pro Bowl.
I know it's kind of lost.
Any reference to the Pro Bowl after 2002 might be completely
irrelevant.
I get
it. But this wasn't who was the backup quarter? Shador. This was not Shador Sanders making the Pro Bowl.
No, it wasn't Snoop Hundley in the Pro Bowl either.
These were legitimately good Geno Smith seasons with the Seahawks back to back.
4,200 yards is nothing to sneeze at, even in today's world.
And then the third year he went 10-7. You saw some slippage. They traded him to Vegas, and he was the worst quarterback in football, not named Justin Fields. But I guess there's a world that exists where he, with Frank Reich, some options here. The Jet offensive line is not the Vegas offensive line from last year. Like, this line is better. You get Brees back. Like, there is a scenario that exists.
They do have one of the starters from Vegas's offensive line last year.
They do. They do indeed. See who they take in the draft. There is a world that exists where their offense is significantly better than last year, which I guess doesn't say much considering how pathetic they were. But that's on the table, where they could just be fun, entertaining, and just it not show itself in the win-loss column.
No, look, and I've said this, for the last couple of weeks since Geno came back. If you go back and I know, why would you waste your time, watching the Raiders? Why would anybody, right? But, like, if you go back and really do a deep dive into last year, it might sound like we're trying to put lipstick on a pig, but I think Geno got way more of the slings and arrows for what went wrong with the Raiders than he deserved. And Pete Carroll admitted as much, too, when he did that interview with Rich a couple of weeks ago. Remember, they fired 2 coordinators during the season, okay, including the offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. Pete had 2 of his sons on the staff. One of them oversaw the offensive line, which was putrid. And I think the other one was working with the quarterbacks as well. So of all the changes that he probably should have made on his coaching staff, when you hire your friends, and in this case your relatives, that could run you into some problems. And he didn't fire his kids. He wasn't going to fire his boys. So that's my point, is that, Pete's a Hall of Fame caliber coach, right? He's had that good of a long career.
Yeah.
This was a disaster last year. And unfortunately for him, that's probably how his NFL head coaching career is going to end. Nobody thought it was going to be that. I thought the Raiders were going to be a surprise team last year. Like, I thought they'd be respectable.
Week 1. They beat the Patriots week 1.
Well, again, that tells you all you need to know about week 1. But, I thought they'd be, in that 7-8 range. Professional remember, they drafted Genti. I thought that they were going to build an offense around him. You just gave the numbers.
Bowers.
Pete and Geno in Seattle won games.
Yep.
I thought they'd be respectable. You had a proven head coach out there now with the Raiders, and it was just a catastrophe. There's no other way around.
And by the way, if you had skepticism about Vegas, it wasn't really about Vegas. It was about the tough division, the 6 games against those teams. No one saw them being as bad as they were last year.
Nobody.
But, and we got to hit a break here, but the caller, Derek, references, you haven't seen a lot of good football. You know what's remarkable? So Mike Tomlin, 19 consecutive winning seasons. That's how he ends his career. You know how many winning seasons the Jets have had total in their franchise history? 19. Amazing.
I always go back to the one, whatever team, Kansas City. In the last, 5-6 years, how many playoff games Kansas City's won, right?
Oh, more than the Jets ever.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think the Jets have only, forget about, home playoff games in their history.
Yeah.
Shea Stadium and the Meadowlands. I think they've only had, 4 or 5 home playoff games. I have to go back and count them up. But think about that, man.
But it's why we were all, and people called us nuts, but it's why we were so excited about the 23 season.
Of course.
It's we had never experienced that before.
Dude, the world was excited about that 23 season. The rest of the NFL bought in too. All the TV people, you look at the schedule that year and how many primetime games they got. That I told you, that opening night on 9/11/2023, the Monday night game. I've been doing the games now for 8 years. Nothing even comes close to that. Dude, Greg and I had Roger Goodell on. He was standing between us on the pregame show at the Coaches Club. That's how hyped that night was.
I'm convinced that doesn't happen to any other team. Maybe the Browns, but none of that happens to any other team. The Brees Hall run, and we're all excited, jumping up and down. None of that. The game does not end like that for any other team. That's why I'm just so down on them, because I can't emotionally allow myself to get to a point where I have some expectations to get ripped away that quickly.
And by the way, if you do want to look for a little bit of, signs from the universe, I don't know if you're a big, metaphysical guy or something like that. If you look for those
I'm a
kind of
spiritual
signs,
guy.
Remember, there's 2 teams in the 4 major sports that are kind of walking that same path, or have been for the last 15 years.
Sabres
and the Jets. Look at what's happening to the Sabres this year. Maybe it's the Sabres needing to break that jinx, and now the Jets are going to follow suit. The Sabres, no other way around it. Sabres might be a cup contender this year.
Yo, maybe we need to start embracing Buffalo as a New York team, and that'll change our fortunes because you got the Bills and now you've got the Sabres.
I'm telling you, so if the Sabres will be a playoff team this year, so they're going to break that streak. Jets are next. Talk it into existence. It's going to happen. All right, we got to get a quick timeout, and we'll get into the more football stuff here at 800-919-3776. Chris Spatola in a half an hour on the college hoops as well. Dan and Ty on this Friday here on BNC, ESPN New York.
Harry Douglas here. Game day brings the excitement. Your stay should feel just as memorable. With Marriott Bonvoy, official hotel partner of the NCAA and U.S. Soccer, you're connected to a portfolio of brands designed for how you travel. Some offer complimentary breakfast, others give you room to spread out, space to stay productive, or extended stay comforts. So whether you're a traveling fan or part of the team, Marriott Bonvoy celebrates the moments that live on before and after the game. Marriott Bonvoy, where game day checks in.
ESPN is now the home of MLB.tv. If you have the ESPN Unlimited plan, you'll get a $15 discount on the 2026 seasonal MLB.tv package. And if you don't, no problem. When you sign up for MLB.tv, you'll receive a 1-month free trial of ESPN Unlimited. Cancel anytime without losing your MLB.tv access. Get in on the action at stream.espn.com/MLBTV.
ESPN Unlimited auto renews at $29.99 per month after free trial unless canceled. Blackouts and other terms apply.
Put it in the box. This is your radio home for New York Mets baseball. 880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
It feels like everyone's sick right now. You aren't imagining it. Doctors say this is the worst cold and flu season in 25 years, and it's not over. I was just traveling. It was like everyone around me was coughing, sneezing, and sick. I can't afford to get sick, and I doubt you can either. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. Having a medical emergency kit is like having urgent care and pharmacy right in your home. It includes essential prescriptions like generic Z-Pak to help you get well faster, plus important antibiotics to treat pneumonia, strep throat, sinus and ear infections, nausea, even UTIs, and many more common and serious illnesses. It's your kit the moment you need it. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's genius. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. I can save you $45 when you use my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. Again, save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
ZipRecruiter. Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Spring Sale and get 35% off paints and stains March 13th through the 23rd. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
All right, it's hour number 2 on this Friday. It's B&C. It's Dan and Ty hanging out with you till 1 on ESPN New York at 800-919-3776. It's the second hour of the show, but it might as well feel like the first hour because it feels like the first hour didn't even happen. See, that's what happens when you have a lot of fun, and it's just like natural and seamless, and things just fly on by. You getting that same feel or no? Is it just me?
No, it's both of us. I could tell you who's not having fun. Dave and Rick during this pickleball match.
We'll get into that for a second. I'm glad you brought that up. Just real quick, though, I want to remind people that ESPN New York is teaming up with Calandra's Bakery to give away a pair of tickets to see the Knicks take on Charlotte on Sunday, April 12th. That's a good game. Charlotte is hot right now. It's easy to enter. Just stop by Calandra's Bakery at 234 Bloomfield Avenue in Caldwell, New Jersey before April 7th to enter in person. It's brought to you by Calandra's Bakery in Caldwell, home of fresh bread, classic Italian pastries, and traditions baked daily. The thing about the pickleball, it's not necessarily who's going to win, who's going to lose. And even though I know that there's a winner and a loser, I get that. But I just worry, because I was talking to Rick about it, like I really worry about their physical well-being getting through this event today.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Because like Rick has the back issue. Are you saying Dave's out of shape?
That's what I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm making sure all the parts of the car are actually going to hold up and do their job throughout the course of this event, however long they play. Like, I want to avoid needing first aid as much as possible.
Well, here's the thing. That would be embarrassing. Like, if these guys have been trash talking for months and then they show up and can't get through it and they've got this injury exodus, that would be embarrassing. Here's the thing, though. I want to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Of the best case scenarios,
right,
and you can slot them one or two, whatever the order, wouldn't the two options be they either get bounced in round one or they win the whole thing just for, like, content, entertainment purposes? Like, if they win the whole thing, it's great. But the best case scenario, the second best case scenario is they get whooped because they did all this trash talking, and now maybe there's some internal friction between them because, you know, if you've played sports like, you know, handball, right? I played handball. Sometimes you lose a game. It's like you're blaming your teammate. I think that would be great too.
Handball is very big in Europe, by the way. What's the format? Like, nobody told me. Is it like are they like contracted to play like X amount of matches, games, whatever? Like, how does this work?
I don't know, because I saw them lose the first match and they're still playing. So I don't know if it's like a double loss tournament. I don't know how the scoring works. But
I know that there's a bunch of teams that entered.
Yeah.
Like, people just showed up, they got team whatever, I don't know how it worked up there. So maybe the way that they came to a consensus was they're going to play as many games as their bodies allow them to. That's how I took it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, RJ knows the rule. He doesn't pull a Mark DeRosa and just doesn't know the tournament rules. Like,
no, I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, this is going to be more like. This would probably be more like, you know, somebody's throwing in a towel, like throw the white towel in, stop the fight, something like that. That's what it's going to be. You know, you're going to have a medic like onto the court with a stretcher or a wheelchair. That's probably the way it's going to go.
I'll tell you who's fired up, though, because if you tune into the stream, which I have during breaks, Rick's throwing some F-bombs out there. Like, he's just letting it rip. Like that.
See,
the former athlete.
You got to act like a gorilla. Like, seriously.
But think about it.
There could be children at this event.
But this is the only way he knows how to perform. Like, he's a former athlete.
It's sad, though. It's sad that this is what he has to resort to kind of like recapture that thrill that he once got being a professional athlete.
I don't think that's what it is. I think Rick probably went into this thinking, I'm going to be calm, composed, poised, all of that. But you can't, like, as a former athlete, just turn it off. You're always wired to be a certain way.
No, I think
I think I don't think so.
I'll tell you why. Because I think if Bart showed up to something like this, he would not be acting like the Neanderthal that Rick is acting like.
But Bart,
he wouldn't be.
I don't know, because Bart and Allen did that like 2-on-2 basketball thing. I don't know how that went, but maybe like 90s. I would say this: 97% of athletes, and I'm totally making up the number, obviously, can't just rewire their emotional. They can't just rewire it emotionally to where in a competitive sport that they're participating in, that they care about, they can just turn it off. I don't think it works that way. So that's why you can say buffoonery, immaturity. I just think he's being who he's always been, and that's a competitor.
But This is where it could get him into trouble, though. Is it like if he's going to be exhausting all this energy, getting hyped up and animated and all jacked up during these games, he also be leaving himself a little bit more vulnerable for injury. You know how the body works, right?
I get it. And once you get up there in age,
that's what I worry about.
But from what I saw, it wasn't going very well. I hope that their fortunes change.
Well, at least the people are having a good time, right? Because this is all thing is about. It's for the people.
Absolutely.
It's for the people. It's for the folks. Let's get back to the calls. 800-919-3776. Let's say hi to Al in the Bronx up next here on ESPN New York. Al, what's going on, sir?
Hey, brother, what's going on? I'm about to walk into a job interview real quick, so wish me luck.
Oh, good
luck.
Man.
What's the job? We'll put in a good word for you.
Working for the state dispatch, man. So hopefully that works out.
Well,
all right, if anybody from the state dispatch's office is listening, Al in the Bronx is coming in for an interview. He's a great dude. That is a someone that you want to be working for you as a representative.
Absolutely. And it's 11-11, so I'm going to make a wish. You get the job.
There you go.
Yeah,
even better.
So listen, I just want to say this about the Jets. I'm a Giants fan. We did the right thing by getting rid of Dable this year. It didn't look right. We held on to him for a couple of years too long, but hey, it worked out. We got Harbaugh. Same thing with you guys. You guys should have gotten rid of Aaron Glenn. McDermott's out there. You guys should have picked him up, get a real coach. It just does not look right. Robert Saleh had that same defense humming, looking great. And Aaron Glenn couldn't get that done? Come on, guys. Get rid of Aaron Glenn. Sean McDermott turned the Bills into a respectable franchise. Go get yourself a good coach. That's where it starts, man. You guys could be great, but you guys keep shooting yourselves in the foot. And I just don't get it. And as a Jets fan, I feel bad for you guys.
Well, remember one thing, and thanks a lot for the phone call, Alan. Good luck with the job interview. Remember about Sean McDermott, though. I mean, he brought up Sean McDermott because he's out there. Yeah. There's a reason Sean McDermott was let go by Buffalo, right? I think it was maybe the wrong decision, but still, he didn't deliver them a championship, which is what the expectations have reached. Let's not forget, I mean, Sean McDermott didn't, win right away with the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's first year, they won, I think, 6 games, something like that.
It was a turnover machine. It
wasn't
until they got
at the end of that 2018 season, the Sam Darnold arrow was pointing higher than Josh Allen.
Yeah, you were doing Jets pre and post in 2018, right?
That was the first year, yeah.
Oh, so we were there for the Monday night Detroit game.
Yes,
to the first throw, and it's like, man, we see where things are going. Which, by the way, Dan, the Jets got the pick right. All these years, we thought they got they got that pick correctly. They got it. They got it right.
There's 2 elements to drafting a quarterback. Number 1, it's identifying the talent, but perhaps more importantly, number 2, it's developing the talent. Right? Jets identified the development went haywire.
Yeah, I mean, between
that's the key.
The quarterback, the supposed quarterback whisperer, and then the lack of weapons around him. Such a shame. The McDermott thing I thought was interesting because, you knew going into the playoffs last year, he was on the hot seat. But, you can't come away from how they lost to Denver and blame him. His quarterback turning the ball over 4 times, that wasn't his fault.
No, and I think that is a case of what happened in Buffalo, if we want to go off on a different path here. I just think that's an owner stretching his fat hands over a situation that he probably should have laid low a little bit. Because our buddy RJ, who's, a Buffalo Sabres devotee, and Terry Pagula owns the Sabres too, in addition to the Bills. He'll tell you repeatedly that the fan base up in Buffalo, as far as the hockey part is concerned, they despise Pagula because they thought Pagula over the last 15 years when the Sabres were not winning, that he was way too involved than he should have been with the hockey side of things. And with the Bills, he's kind of stayed out of the picture and not gotten involved, and that's why they won. Now what happens this time around? According to him, he walks in the locker room after that game in Denver, sees Josh Allen and other players crying like a baby, and that's when he decides that he's got to fire his coach?
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So, and you think Joe Brady is the answer?
Yeah.
Who's never coached a day in his life as a head coach?
Who was on the staff.
Who was on the staff?
On the staff.
I mean, look, when you have the quarterback, you got a chance, no matter what obstacles are against you, and we know that he's a stud, but You can't tell me the Bills are a better football team with Joe Brady as the coach compared to Sean McDermott. You can't.
Well, for all the people who make excuses, listen, I don't want to do the anti-Josh thing, but listen, you make a lot of excuses for a quarterback who, again, turned the ball over 4 times in that game. If he just has one fewer turnover, they probably win.
Oh yeah, he didn't play his best game at all. He was at times reckless with the football.
Yo, that turnover right before halftime is one of the worst I've ever seen.
When he was carrying the ball like a loaf of bread?
Yeah, it's just unnecessarily. And it immediately led to points. It's just pathetic. When you describe the Pagula thing, how sports fans in Buffalo feel about him, it just reminded me of the Dolan conversation, because that was Knicks Rangers.
Well, right. It's gonna be any team fan base / right when you're not getting the results, and you have somebody in charge who maybe is getting a little bit more involved than he should be. Although, again, when I always say, man, when you sign the checks, you can do whatever the hell you want. Doesn't mean it's right, but you could do whatever you want when you sign the checks.
But you would prefer to allow the people who you hire to do football things to make football decisions.
1,000%.
So when you're coming in heavy-handed,
walk of life it is.
And in some cases, owners who are like negotiating with players who can't even get their name right, calling them Hassam, it would be in your best interest to let the guys you hire to do the job to actually execute it.
I want to play something for you before we get back to the phones.
All right.
So we were talking about Geno, right?
We were.
And Geno made an appearance on a podcast that Michael Irvin does. It's on Netflix, and I never knew this thing existed. It's called The White House, okay? And I don't know if that's anything political or whatever. It might be, have like recreational affiliations to that title. You could Google it, kids. So anyway, Geno was on the Michael Irvin podcast, and he talked a little bit about what it means to him to be coming back to the Jets and working with Aaron Glenn. And take a listen.
I'm so excited. I feel like it's kind of God putting me back in a place where, it was the start of my career, but it was somewhere where I felt like I didn't do enough. Like I felt like I left some unfinished business. Like I didn't get to show them the real me. You know what I mean? On and off the field. I didn't get to really do what I wanted to do in the city. We talk about the stuff hanging out, going to 44, that's whatever. I'm talking about really being the quarterback and how special it would be for Coach Glenn and myself to revive the franchise, get it going back in the right direction, win a bunch of games. That's what success looked like to me. It's straight winning. I don't care about nothing else but winning. So when it comes down to it, win a bunch of games, trying to get that Lombardi, I gotta hoist that trophy. That's why I'm still playing. It's not a money thing. It's not an ego thing. I really want to be a champion, man, before I, call it quits. And so I'm giving everything I got, to the city. I'm giving everything I got to the Jets, to my teammates, to Coach Glenn, to Woody. You know what I mean? Everything I got to, Florham Park. I know it's gonna be a great thing because I have more perspective, a better perspective. I'm obviously a better player. Brandon used to tell me all the time, when you get it up top, when you get it mentally, you're going to take off. And I can honestly remember when I got it mentally, I was like, man, I feel like I know what I'm doing now. For me, going back to New York City, playing for the Jets again, I think it's a dream come true, honestly.
There's conflicting agendas with Geno going back to the Jets. And what I mean by that is he obviously thinks that he's going to be able to write like a happy ending to the fairy tale and take this team back to the playoffs where they haven't been in forever. There's also another part of the football populace out there that thinks that Geno Smith signing with the Jets is going to have exactly the same effect that it did by him being the Raider quarterback last year, and then it's going to lead to them having the number 1 pick in the draft and then drafting Arch Manning or whatever the number 1 quarterback prospect is going to be in 2027. I just don't know. I think those are real opposite ends of the spectrum. I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle.
Okay, can I offer this tangentially? Listen, I like Geno. My family will tell you I was a big Geno guy. I always thought that this dude was talented, and if given the right situation, he could succeed. So I'm happy.
Buy the jersey or no?
No, I'm not a big jersey guy.
Okay.
Never been a big jersey guy. So, in a lot of ways.
You got married in Jersey, though.
I did. A wedding that you came to.
That's true.
I was very happy about that. The Radisson Hotel.
It was a very good ceremony.
I
remember
really
I
hot
couldn't
outside,
find
right?
the place, though. I couldn't find the place. Once we got off the main road or whatever, we were driving around that area. I'm like, where is this place? Where is this place? It was very weird. But we made it.
Freehold. How far are you from Freehold?
I would say like 40 minutes. But like once you get off, I don't remember what it was. It was like Route 9 or whatever the heck it was. Like the exit it told you to take, and then like you're driving in this like kind of like winding roads, like side roads, and I was like, okay, it says the address is here, but where's this? Like you had to like kind of like stick your neck around the bend a few times to try to make sure to find the place.
But I'm glad you showed up. It was hot. Like the ceremony was outside,
very hot.
Very
July.
hot. I was nervous as one could possibly be, but
yeah, but it's not like she was going to say no.
No, I wanted to nail the vows, and I was doing.
You
it,
nailed
like,
the vows
off the dome. Like, I didn't have paper. Like I just did it off the dome. That was important to me. But anyway, back to the Geno Smith conversation. And I appreciate everything he had to say. I'm skeptical about how sincere he was with what he said, because from what I've been told, from what I've read in the reporting, the reason why the Jets traded for Geno was because they feared that had he hit free agency, he was going to go to another team. So how is it possible that the same Geno Smith is just so over-the-top excited about returning home and writing this story, him and Aaron Glenn, but the Jets, in an emergency attempt, had to trade for you because you were going elsewhere? So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
He feels wanted. They came and got him. He maybe wasn't expecting it, but it's like, wow, look, they wanted me. That means a lot. I'm coming home. That's how I would take it. I think that's how any human would take it. Here's the bottom line, though, with Geno. The numbers that stand out and mean the most to me about this whole thing, 3.3.
Salary.
And those aren't the wins and losses number in Vegas for the Jets this year. They're paying an NFL starting quarterback who, as you said earlier, has 2 seasons on his radar of throwing for over 4,200 yards in the last 5 years, $3.3 million. There's backups, dude, that are making probably $5-6 million.
Yeah, there's a lesser accomplished starting quarterback who just got 10 times that in Miami. So,
how about that?
And so, like,
that's a great country when you get that kind of pay for that kind of work.
I mean, listen, it's not about what you're worth; it's about what they're willing to pay and when you become a free agent quarterback. I think it could be fun. Who knows, right? I have, and people know this, Jet fans got so angry with me the other day because I was arguing with Bart about what I think the Jets will be next year. I'm just not sold on the head coach, and it's not controversial to have watched last year and say, yeah, I don't think he's the guy. But Geno adds a little bit.
You're not wrong. Yeah, like, bottom line, you're not wrong, okay? Like, I think there's still an evaluation process going on in the building. I mean, like I said, like, if they're 3-14 again, they're not running it back for a third go-round.
No, it's not going to happen. But then it's like, how attractive is this job? Okay, I want to run this by you, though, when it comes to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is very popular amongst fans, or at least fans that I've spoken to. They want the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the pushback on that is it's just wherever your program is, it depreciates the value, right? Like, why would anyone want to go play there? And you don't need the number 1 overall pick if you are searching for a quarterback in next year's draft because you got 3 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
The counter to that, Dan, is having the draft capital is awesome. It only goes as far as the team willing to trade with you. And so if you and the Giants found themselves in this situation a couple of years ago, Caleb, Jaden Drake couldn't trade up to get those guys.
Correct.
And so the capital's fun to have unless you're behind teams that also need quarterbacks.
Well, it's like this year, right? Like, let's say if Tennessee ended up with the number 1 pick instead of the Raiders, Jets could have been in business because Tennessee doesn't need a quarterback.
If the Giants don't win, they don't win those 2 games. Now, would it suck having to give all that draft capital to the Giants? Sure, but the wrong team ended up being the worst team if you're a Jet fan, and there's no telling. Like, that could happen again next year.
You want some breaking news?
Oh, hit me! I love
involving the Giants.
News. Oh, let's do it.
Can't wait. Abdul Carter has decided on a new jersey number.
What number? Where are we going?
Number 3.
Okay.
Number 3. The only number that matters for Abdul Carter is what time is the alarm supposed to be set for. That's the only number that matters for Abdul
Listen,
Carter.
he finished the year strong. So good for him, having his maturity impugned, and now he's got.
But you know what? That motivational genius, Mike Kafka, is no longer a part of the franchise. You know?
So going to number 3, huh?
Who was Odell number 3?
13. Odell was 13.
Okay. So I was about to say, I didn't know if he wanted to have, I was trying to think, did the Giants have the number 3 retired? Because he wanted LT's number, when he came into the league.
How about that? How did you feel about that?
That's one of my, maybe one day we'll sit here and do a full 3-4 hour show just so we can air grievances about all these guys now who want numbers unretired so they could wear the number. Do you see the same thing that's happening apparently at USC? Somebody wants Matt Leinert's number 11 to be unretired. And Matt Leinart was over my dead body.
Russell Wilson wore 3 last year.
Russell Wilson, that's it. Russell Wilson. Listen, I don't know if his number is retired at West Point. It might be. We can ask him when he comes on. But Chris Spatola is going to join us coming up next. We'll switch gears and do a little NCAA talk. ESPN Outstanding College Basketball Analyst joins us coming up in a few. It's Dan and Ty right here on ESPN New York.
5th-seeded St. John's kicks off their March Madness tournament in San Diego against 12th-seeded Northern Iowa. Coverage begins today at 7 on 1050 ESPN.
Adam Schefter here. It's tournament time, when only the most talented teams survive in advance. And whether you're cutting down the nets or cutting through resumes, one thing's clear. The best teams are built with the best people. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. Their smart matching technology finds qualified candidates fast. You can add screening questions to get the right applicants and even filter to see who's recently active. Score the best for your team with ZipRecruiter. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, it's Michael K. And I love when I get to talk about my friends at PC Richard & Son. It's a local company, family owned, and I trust them, and you should too. Right now, get tax season savings up to 35% off select categories. Plus, save an additional 8.875% off hundreds of items throughout the store. And in-home delivery is free. Great savings, great service. It's what they do. Get tax season savings at PC Richard & Son today. Some exclusions apply. Free delivery on mattresses, $399 and up, excludes Manhattan.
Knicks fans, it's time for basketball, and the action starts on Sunday at Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden with Team ESPN New York and Ultra. Whether you need a pregame spot or you're looking for the right Knicks bar to watch the game versus the Wizards, Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden is your destination. The party tips off at 7 p.m. Team ESPN will be giving away ESPN, Ultra, and Knicks prizes. Join fellow Knicks fans on Sunday at 2919 24th Avenue in Astoria. Cheer on your Knicks, enjoy Ultra Draft and bottle specials, and cool prizes all game long at Bohemian Hall and Beer Garden.
25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Check it in a year, check it in 5. This ain't optimum 5, but price is still alive. 25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Get Optimum famously fast fiber internet. Optimum.com/25 for 5. Or call 8884-OPTIMUM. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Gold is now nearly $5,200 an ounce, and silver is at an all-time high. Now is the best time to cash in on your unused gold and silver by going to the Estates Roadshow. Gold and silver, old rings, chains, and even broken jewelry. Don't wait. Cash in while gold and silver are hot. 3 locations this week: Staten Island as well as Clark and Old Bridge, New Jersey. Bring your gold, silver, coins, diamonds, and watches, even broken pieces, and get cash on the spot. The prices of gold and silver are at an all-time high, so there's never been a better time to sell. No appointments, no fees, no pressure. Just friendly, professional buyers with over 35 years in the business. Go to the Estates Roadshow Monday through Friday in Clark, New Jersey at the Holiday Inn, Staten Island at the Hilton Garden Inn, and Friday through Tuesday in Old Bridge at TMT Cash for Gold, the bright yellow building on Route 9 South. Get some cash in your hands today at the Estates Roadshow. For more info, follow Estates Roadshow on Facebook or go to tmtcashforgold.com.
This is Rick Brunson, the assistant coach from the New York Knicks. I'll be driving to our games this season in style in my new Jeep Gladiator from Princeton Jeep. My friends at Princeton Jeep gave me all-star treatment, and you can expect the same thing. Just mention I sent you, and they'll treat you like family. Princeton Jeep has tons of inventory and great deals on new vehicles. Visit Princeton Jeep at 1045 State Road in Princeton, New Jersey, or online at PrincetonJeeps.com and tell them Rick Brunson sent you.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Dan and Ty, ESPN New York on this Friday at 800-919-3776. Now, let me tell you a little story real quick before we bring in our next guest, and it's about our next guest. This gentleman and I have been doing this annual March tradition on some talk show or another where we join forces, we talk college hoops, we talk the NCAA tournament, and when I say time-honored tradition, this has been going back to the days of, it might have been black and white television. That's how long it's been. You know, forget about the field of 64, 68. I mean, they didn't even dream of having that many teams in the tournament. We've been doing it this long. But it is always a pleasure to keep that tradition alive, and we do it now with our good pal, the outstanding college basketball analyst from ESPN. He is the great Christopher Spatola. Christopher, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's always great to hear your voice, Ty. Good to be with you as well. It's you taking us back, though, man. You're aging us big time. 100 years ago, you're making us sound like.
Well, we look good for 100 years, don't we?
You look dead sexy, brother. You know that. Dead sexy.
Oh, it's
look
always
at you.
good.
An Adonis. You're an Adonis.
Oh, it's always good to hear your voice, my friend. Let's get right into brass tacks here for a second. This tournament, and really in this new kind of NIL transfer portal world that we are right now, we saw it last year, and I don't know, like the way this is kind of shaping up to be, at least in my opinion, is the whole NIL and the money that's now changing hands with these guys and roster transfer. Has that led to maybe the tournament being a little bit more chalkish as maybe we expected it to, or I mean, as we kind of were accustomed to seeing it for so many years?
Yeah, I think so. 1 year doesn't necessarily make a trend, but that's what last year was. And it wasn't just, all 4 1 seeds making the Final Four. It was chalky throughout. I mean, higher seed, as you know, Dan, won almost all those games. And look, you got SLU yesterday who gets a dub. You get VCU. You get High Point. I think one of the things that we can also say about the current state of things is that there are more players overall. I mean, just coming out of high school, there's just more good players spread across 360 teams in D1. But I think overall, I think your point is taken, and I think we're going to continue to see that. Higher seeds, the sport becoming a little bit more top-heavy because of portal, because of NIL. And, I think that is becoming more and more the trend.
So, Chris, we go way back because, and you might not remember this, I was a producer at SiriusXM, so I remember getting you on a couple of the Mad Dog shows and this time of year. So it's good to talk to you again. I don't believe in a such thing as overreacting to things that happen in a single elimination tournament. And so when I watched Duke yesterday almost lose to Siena, I'm wondering, like, is there some concern about them, or is that like more of a one-off? They didn't take them seriously, and we expect them to perform the way that we did coming into this tournament?
Yeah, I think two things can be true at one time. I mean, first of all, there can be truth in the statement that coming off of winning a conference championship like Duke did can be an exhausting experience. 3 games in 3 days, the celebration part of that and turning the page from that, you can either be too tired from that experience or you can be too immature. And I thought Duke was perhaps a little bit of both, and certainly in the first half against Siena. I don't think they handled that experience well going into that game. I think, the fact that they are playing without those 2 players that you mentioned, I think one could wear them down a little bit. Their depth has taken a hit. But I think also they could look at winning that ACC championship without those 2 players and feel a little bit good about themselves, to the point where, as Malik Brown said in the halftime interview, you sort of say, 16 seed, it's Siena. We just won without 2 of our rotation players. We'll be fine in this first round game. And I thought that was a big part of that. They just didn't guard the ball. And when you can't guard the ball, it becomes harder to guard the 3-point line. I thought that was a big part of it. It's one of the reasons why Shire went to that 2-3 zone in the second half, started picking up a little bit. You just had to infuse a little bit of life into a team that was sleepwalking through that first half. The other part to your question, there's a lot of truth to that, man, especially with Ngamba. Like, you lose that size, that physicality in the paint. You lose that rim protection. And what that means is now Cam Boozer, who's had to do really everything for that team all year, now has to do more. And so, it's one of the reasons why he had 5 turnovers. It's one of the reasons why he drew 10 fouls. He took 14 free throws. Like, he has to do everything. And while he's been that guy all year, I think we started to see a little bit of that wear and tear. And thankfully, Isaiah Evans started to do some stuff on the glass in the second half. But what you're starting to see, and Jerry McNamara said that going into that game, they have 2 guys that we got to stop. One of them obviously being Boozer, and they committed a lot to him. And I thought even though he got his numbers, he had to really work. And so without those 2 players, Duke's rotation's down, guys got to do more. And that's where I don't know if Duke has that in the bag to win big. They may beat TCU, but there are some holes that are presented without those 2 guys, and I thought that was also a part of yesterday's narrative.
And it's interesting you said that, and it leads me to this, and this is kind of like a big picture thing, especially with some of these favorites. And, we're going to see Kansas today, and I know they've had a lot of drama with Darren Peterson this year. Like, they could look really, really good any day, and then other days it looks like they can't beat a CYO team down the street. You, in your career when you were on the bench as an assistant coach with Duke, I mean, you were part of a team that won a national championship. You were also part of a team that got bounced in the first round, right? The Austin Rivers team that lost to Lehigh in the first round. If you're part of that mix and you're a coach and you're part of that staff and you're with this team for months and you know exactly the DNA of a group, by this time of the season, going into the tournament, do you know if a particular team has what it takes? Or are you just eternally optimistic that, the light switch is going to go on when we step out on the court? Or is there a sense of reality maybe if you are flawed and the end is nearing really, really quick?
Yeah, great question. I would say 2 things to that. First of all, you have to understand your opponent, especially if you're Duke walking into that place. Like, those teams play free, and that's their moment. They're going to shoot free. They got nothing to lose, and this is their moment to have against Duke. And I thought there was a lot of that with Siena. You mentioned us losing in 2012 to Lehigh. Like, not only was that Lehigh's moment, that was C.J. McCollum's moment. And it turned out not only was he the best player on the floor, he ended up being the best pro. I mean, he had a long, productive pro career. But the fact of the matter is, Lehigh looked at our Duke team that year. They saw Duke across the chest, but they did not believe that was a legitimate Duke team. And to your question, Dan, we weren't. That team had a lot of flaws. We had a lot of chemistry issues. We just had a lot of issues, and we were not that team. And there are years, Dan, where you will look at your group and you'll say, nah, this ain't the year. And that ends up bearing out. Now, you may still have a twinge of belief. Maybe we can get on a run because that's what the tournament does. But you really know. That team that won in 2010, Dan, I knew we had it in us actually after a loss. We went, when Maryland was still in the ACC, we went to Maryland, which was the toughest place to play for us in the league. And we ended up losing that game to a really good Maryland team. But our team showed a grit and a toughness, and we were old. We started that year, 3 seniors and 2 juniors. So out of that loss, I'm like, you know what, we might have something here. And then we won the ACC tournament, but to the point I was making about Duke earlier, we were mature enough to then turn the page. And then in our first game, I think we played Arkansas Pine Bluff that year, there was nothing we were going to take for granted. And so we were ready. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into, A, the dynamic of your team and whether you're ultimately good enough, which Carolina wasn't. They just didn't have that team that was going to be able to do that. And for VCU, a lot like Lehigh or Siena yesterday, those teams had their shot, man, against Duke. We could make history here. And now those 16 seeds, they now believe, now that obviously UMBC and Fairleigh Dickinson have done it, now there's belief for these 16 seeds.
How about this, too? Because there's a lot of conversation, and you guys hit on it a little bit earlier, about like Cinderella teams, what does NIL do to it? But as we continue this march toward being, in basketball overall, like the NBA is this, and in college basketball we see being more three-point shooting heavy, that three-point variance just changes things. And so you'll see High Point, they hit 15 threes in that game against Wisconsin. So how much of the parity can still exist, Cinderella runs can still exist because of three-point variance?
You know, that is a great question, Ty, because I was talking to somebody last night, a friend of mine on the phone about this, how shooting changes the game. Like I was talking earlier that there are more players across the board. There are more shooters, just writ large, in the game of basketball. And so it is the ultimate equalizer and always has been. Like one of my things about, upsets, when you're picking your bracket and you're looking at these lower seeded teams, one of the things you need to look at is a team that can make shots. So your point about High Point is a great one. They made 15 threes. The thing about Miami of Ohio, they made 16 threes the other night in that game. You can't withstand that. And so these teams, VCU made 11 threes in that game. Siena, one of the reasons they were up by double figures in the first half is they made threes in the first half. That is the ultimate game changer. And the thing about these teams, these mid-major to low-major teams, is they don't have the size. So what they've had to do all year long is they've had to spread you out. They've had to, drive you and kick out. And they play fast. That's where you can get a lot of threes in transition. That's the thing with Miami of Ohio is they just looked like the faster team the other night. So it is the ultimate equalizer. This tournament, it proves out that way. And to my point about shooting free, when you are the underdog, when you are playing a Duke or playing a higher-seeded team that's got a big brand on their chest, you shoot the ball more freely. There's less pressure on those shots. And so you can then start to hit those in volume, and shooting becomes contagious for teams like that. So it's a great question. It's a big, big part of these games now, and there are just more shooters on these teams, and these coaches have figured out more ways. I think it's the NBA influence. They have figured out more ways through these different offenses to create those three-point shooting opportunities.
Couple more minutes with Chris Spatola here on ESPN New York. All right, so the Johnnies are in action tonight, and we know the disappointment last year. They get picked off in round number 2 by Calipari in Arkansas. And, maybe this was a conversation for earlier in the week when the brackets came out, but a lot of people feel like they got hosed by being a 5 and then getting shipped out to San Diego and being in the same region as UConn, for crying out loud, in their own conference. It's just, didn't give them many easier paths here. And especially if things break a certain way, they're staring at Duke potentially in the Sweet 16. When you look at what is a successful season for St. John's, despite the fact they're back-to-back Big East champs. Do you think at the very least they have to make it to next week and get through these first 2 rounds in San Diego?
I do. I think both for St. John's and for the Big East, Dan. I think that's true. I think a win over Duke, for example, in a Sweet 16 game, and then look, a loss to a Michigan State or whomever, or UConn at the bottom of the bracket. I mean, as you know, it's hard to beat a team multiple times in a year. So to beat a UConn again or a Michigan State, who's I have going to the Final Four out of that region, I think losing an Elite Eight would not necessarily. I think that would be a good finale to the year for St. John's. But because to be honest with you, Dan, I think Rick still has a lot of issues with that team last year. I don't know what it is. I think it's largely related to R.J. Lewis.
Yep.
But this narrative he has trumpeted about his first year there at St. John's, that being his most talented team, and then this team this year being his second most, I could not disagree with that more. And who am I? I mean, he's obviously living it. But from my observation, that team last year was the most talented team he has had at St. John's since he's been there. I think they've overachieved, brother. Their defense is so disruptive. Their ability to rebound is game-changing. But this team is not great offensively. I mean, it's a hard time to win when a center is your best player. Those guards, as much as they've gotten better, that team you've seen him just has a really hard time scoring. And if you can cut off their oxygen, which is turnovers where they can get out and score off of that, if you can cut off offensive rebounding, which again is oxygen for them to score, they have a hard time putting the ball in the basket. And that's where I think last year that team could score a little bit better. This year, I think that's ultimately going to be their issue, is just the inability to put the ball in the basket against better teams that don't turn it over, that can rebound, can sort of cut off the way that St. John scores. So I think it's a limited group that Rick's done a great job with. And I think if you get to an Elite Eight and you lose to whomever, Michigan State or UConn, I still think that's a really, really good year for St. John's.
Well, and just to add to that real quick, the skeptic will also tell you, to your point, if you think it's a flawed team, let's also remember something, too. This was a down year for the Big East compared to what we've seen the last few seasons. Remember, Creighton wasn't any good. Marquette had an awful year. So, the talent pool, and the depth of real good team in that league was way off this season, too.
Yeah, and what's odd about that is without rev share, having to go to some level of football, those programs conceivably have more money to give. That's one of the reasons I believe Kim English was fired, is that's a $10 million roster. We're this bad? And, part of that is it was a young team, you had young, talented players, but part of that is you made some bad mistakes. Jason Edwards, bad mistake. Duncan Powell, bad mistake. And in that league, you can't afford to make those mistakes. So that was the other odd thing to me this year, Dan, is we heard all about this rev share and the Big East is going to have more money to spend because there's no football. And yet it was still that down a year. It was a bit odd.
So I'm watching A.J. DeBonta yesterday, and he finishes 35-10, almost scores half of BYU's points. And this was so funny to me. Sean Miller, the head coach of Texas at halftime, he's asked, how do you slow him down? He flat out said, I don't think we can, which is the best compliment you can pay to a player during a game. I just watch him and feel like I'm watching the best player in the sport. They were throwing everything at him, hedging on screens. He's finishing with both hands. He's hitting the midi. He had everything going for him. It's a shame we won't get to see him play the rest of the tournament, but doesn't he have to be the number one pick in this upcoming NBA draft?
Yeah, I think he would be for me right now as we're sitting here, and I do think that performance plays a lot into it. Look, the reality is, this class is loaded. And so, I think and you know how this analysis goes, Ty, by the end of the tournament, all the way through that draft process, these things get picked apart. And, who's to say that, we didn't get to see Caleb Wilson, but, does all of a sudden a narrative start to develop as teams look in a little bit taller, Not necessarily the varied skill set that Devonta has, but can you make an argument there? Do we need a point guard? Do we need a bigger type of a point guard to compete with Oklahoma City, to compete with San Antonio, to compete with Boston? So I'm with you, but I think the fact that this class is as loaded as it's been and as productive, I mean, that's the thing. We've had projective drafts in the past. We're like, okay, that guy got 15 and 5 this year, but holy crap, he's going to be really good in 5 years. No. These guys are ready. I mean, these guys are putting, it's not just Devonta, obviously. Like Darius Acuff, there is momentum now. We'll see what he does today and through the rest of the tournament. But after what he did in the SEC tournament, I could see a lot of teams trying to make an argument for that dude. So I'm with you, but I think there's a lot of basketball to play and a lot of time where these things can evolve.
A lot of basketball to play, and it should be good stuff as always. You always deliver the goods, my friend. You're a Final Four participant each and every single time. You know that. Appreciate a couple of minutes. We will catch up again soon. And guess what? Enjoy the basketball today in the next 2 days. It should be fantastic as always, but appreciate you, pal.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
All right, there is Chris Spatola, ESPN college basketball analyst. Outstanding stuff from him. We got a lot more to do. Till 1 o'clock, it's Dan and Ty right here on ESPN New York.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
FanDuel is offering an early win on your pre-live moneyline bets for college basketball when your team goes up 10 points, and it stays a win no matter how the game ends. Did you get that? Win or lose, if your team takes a lead of 10 or more points, then it's a win for you. And don't forget, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. FanDuel is offering an early win on your pre-live moneyline bets for college basketball when your team goes up 10 points, and it stays a win no matter how the game ends. Did you get that? Win or lose, if your team takes a lead of 10 or more points, just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Bet the bracket with FanDuel now. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Tokens are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including token expiration, market requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your sports IQ to work on the games you know best. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. Buy or sell your predictions all game long. Trade every play with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Rings End is your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. They're your store for quality with a full line of brilliant and durable Benjamin Moore paints. They're your store for inspiration with thousands of colors and a variety of sheens. And Rings End is your store for expertise with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. Insist on Benjamin Moore paint from Rings End because the gorgeous color you love can't be matched in another brand of paint.
Smalls here. Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your 6 figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year 1 needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all. And they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Join DiPietro and Rothenberg Thursday, April 23rd for a special couch cast of round 1 of the NFL Draft. Presented by Calandra's Bakery. The Jets and Giants have 3 picks in the top 16, and Rick and Dave will react live as the first round unfolds. From the big decisions to the big-time drama. Catch it all in this YouTube-only exclusive, and it's all from Calandra's Bakery and your home for football talk. ESPN New York.
All right, it's game time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, you know what? It's Tully time. 1:10 p.m. Mets and Cardinals coverage begins on 880 ESPN New York, starting at 1. We're less than a week until opening day. 3:15 p.m. the Hofstra Pride take on Alabama in the first round of March Madness. 6:35, Yanks go up against the Orioles. At 7, the Devils are going to travel to D.C. to take on the Caps. 7:10, the Johnnies, we've been talking about it, takes on Northern Iowa. First round of the NCAA tournament. Coverage begins on 1050 ESPN and the ESPN New York app starting at 7, because starting at 7 on ESPN 880, it'll be the Knicks taking on the Brooklyn Nets. And you can hear all that stuff, like I said, on 880 and the ESPN New York app as well, beginning at 7 p.m. And that is Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly.
No
Stan
love
and
for
Ty here
LIU?
on ESPN New York. You asked
love
a
for
good
LIU?
question. What's that?
No love for LIU?
That's blame Tom Bauer. He's
What's
the one.
going on here?
If you're
Yeah,
looking for
that's a 135 situation. My
You
apologies.
discriminating? Come on,
it's a
man.
My apologies to all the Sharks out there.
Oh,
that is
Lord.
a bad job by Tom. But yes, 135 against Arizona. Good luck. Arizona's got the goods. You asked the question, and that was a good point you brought up too about Dabanza last night against Texas. He did his part, but BYU. They lost Richie Saunders about a month ago, which is one of their big players, and so their long-term forecast took a hit with that one, which is unfortunate. But you brought up Darius Acuff, and he's a guy that, as far as some people kind of wondered over the last week, leading up to the start of the tournament, who's that guy this year that can get stinky hot and pull like a Shabazz Napier or a Kemba Walker and be like that point guard who leads their team all the way to the big, top of the mountain there. Acuff could be that guy for Arkansas. You know what I mean? He just did it last week in the SEC tournament. And as Chris said, if Arkansas makes a deep run, goes to a Final Four or something like that, and he stars, you might be talking about a guy who's going to be one of the, top 2 picks of this draft potentially here in June.
Yeah, because a couple weeks ago, I started to see him shoot up some draft boards. And, that's a name that, like you said, you go on a deep tournament run knowing it's a guard league, and he's putting up some big-time numbers and proves that, at 6'3", you have issues about, the size. But if he proves that, he is someone that is not going to be deficient on the defensive side, he is definitely going to be in that conversation.
You know who he reminds me of? Who he reminds me of, at that stage of his career. He reminds me of D. Rose.
Really?
Yeah. A little bit.
D. Rose is probably the most athletic point guard in NBA history. You think he's got he has that?
I'm talking when he was at Memphis, coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Just the conversation about him. Oh, okay, yeah. I can see that.
Absolutely.
I don't know how I found myself rewatching the final 2 minutes of that game, D Rose versus Mario Chalmers yesterday.
Missing free throws, man.
Missed one free throw, and that just changes the course of history.
That was
Mario Chalmers. You always get the these names that hit the big shots. Who was the guy that hit the shot for? Was it VC the step back 3 yesterday? Was that the VCU game? Because now all of them start to just.
I don't remember because unfortunately, the VCU game was going on last night while we were still doing the Rangers, so I was locked into that. Oh. I had the VCU game on the iPad next to me going crazy, while that whole thing was shaking out.
It was Terrence Hill Jr. that hit that step back 3.
Yeah, Terrence Hill Jr. just step back on him.
And so today, you're going to get the first game in about 15 minutes. It'll be a standalone game on CBS. It's Kentucky against Santa Clara. I like the Broncos in that one, by the way. In the if you want to call it an upset, it'll be an upset as far as the seeding is concerned. Santa Clara's had a real good year, and Kentucky is one of those interesting situations. He's had a rough season this year, but you wonder how they're going to deal with that because Mark Pope's a Kentucky guy. You know what I mean? And this is his second year. I don't think his job is in jeopardy, but, if you're the head of Big Blue Nation, bro, one loss is the end of the world.
Your job's always in jeopardy.
You know what I'm saying? One loss is the end of the world.
Wait,
if you're a one and done in the tournament, that ain't good enough. They ran Calipari out of here after all those years.
Quick question. We got to get this answered before the top of the hour. Do I hit you with a power hour? Do I step in for Bart, or are we going to nix that today?
No, this is a...
You're going to nix it.
It's not a nix. Okay, Knicks Nets tonight, by the way, 7 o'clock. This is consider it a treat. You just sit back, you relax, you enjoy yourself. Okay. Because we have the master of ceremonies who's going to be able to handle that because he is in his own category when it comes to the Power Hour.
I love
We'll get into that next. It's Dan, it's Ty, it's ESPN New York.
New York Knicks fans, here's a total slam dunk. For a limited time, get Verizon Fios and a line of mobile for just $64.99 a month with AutoPay. Get Fios 300 megabit per second for $20 a month. And unlimited welcome for $45 a month plus taxes and fees when you bring your own phone. Visit a Verizon store today to learn more. For new Fios internet and mobile customers, discounts applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. Additional terms apply. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
More people trust their hearts to New York Presbyterian than any other hospital in New York. It's because New York Presbyterian has the most experienced cardiovascular doctors, treating a full range of heart conditions, from heart failure to valve repair, with the most advanced treatments. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital, based on U.S. News & World Report 2025 to 2026 cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery rankings.
Gold is now nearly $5,200 an ounce, and silver is at an all-time high. Now is the best time to cash in on your unused gold and silver by going to the Estates Roadshow. Gold and silver, old rings, chains, and even broken jewelry. Don't wait. Cash in while gold and silver are hot. 3 locations this week: Staten Island as well as Clark and Old Bridge, New Jersey. Bring your gold, silver, coins, diamonds, and watches, even broken pieces, and get cash on the spot. The prices of gold and silver are at an all-time high, so there's never been a better time to sell. No appointments, no fees, no pressure. Just friendly professional buyers with over 35 years in the business. Go to the Estates Roadshow Monday through Friday in Clark, New Jersey at the Holiday Inn, Staten Island at the Hilton Garden Inn, and Friday through Tuesday in Old Bridge at TMT Cash for Gold, the bright yellow building on Route 9 South. Get some cash in your hands today at the Estates Roadshow. For more info, follow Estates Roadshow on Facebook or go to tmtcashforgold.com.
ESPN New York, now streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe today and watch the show. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Think great meat has to come with a high price? Not at Wild Fork Foods. Get beef tenderloin for only $10 a pound. Yes, $10 a pound. And Atlantic salmon portions just $9.98 a pound. That's awesome quality at a great value for your table. Everything is blast frozen to lock in flavor and nutrients. Shop one of their 7 locations, or you can order online for same-day delivery. WildForkFoods.com. Wild Fork Foods, quality meat, wild prices.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Spring Sale and get 35% off paints and stains March 13th through the 23rd. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
In sports, the tape never tells the whole story. Hiring is no different. AI can make candidates look like an MVP on paper, so knowing the person and the skills behind the resume matters. That's where Robert Half changes the game. Our recruiters combine their expertise with award-winning AI to evaluate skills and fit quickly. Learn how we can find you specialized talent in finance, accounting, technology, and more. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
All right, rolling along here on this Friday. It's Dan and Ty on BNC here on ESPN New York, 800-919-3776. It is the 12 o'clock hour. It is the third hour, and Ty asked the question just before the commercial, who is going to deliver the Power Hour? Well, Ty, you just kick back, my friend, because we've got that all taken care of. I turn things over to the one, the only, Thomas Joaquin Bauer, who tells us
it's the Power Hour.
He was so excited. There was some premature ejaculation there. He just stepped all over you. He didn't even let you get the words out of your mouth.
That was amazing.
Great
That
job,
was
Tom.
amazing. Tom, are you okay?
Honestly, my chest hurts. I was not ready for that.
That's
now,
what she said.
Now, that was live, Tom. Now,
Yeah.
Tom, give us some of the greatest hits from the last couple of weeks.
Oh, here you go. The Power Hour.
He did a little
I think I
pause
doubled it
there
from
at the
last
end.
time.
Yeah, to get but then the one prior to that might have been the best of all. Remember that one when it sounded like you're like, vocal cords were just gonna like jump out of your throat after about 2 or 3 powers or whatever.
Oh,
or
you
hours?
Oh, yeah. Hang on. I think you mean this one. It's the Power Hour. No, that's the wrong one. That is from back in the day.
Yeah, you could tell.
That one. Because you know what, that one, he just literally went like 0 to 60 like that. And then he realized, now what?
Yeah, like he's got nothing else to give.
Nothing.
No, I respect it, though, because you hear, like, the maturity in his voice from when he first did it, and to now he's giving you that full throttle bass. Because Tom's a heavy metal guy.
Huge.
And he's used to going to these concerts and letting it rip off. So I respect and appreciate what he brings at the top of the 12 o'clock hour.
Real quick, it doesn't get more New York than this. Wild Turkey Bourbon giving you the chance to score the ultimate New York game day. One lucky winner scores a pair of tickets to opening day in the Bronx and New York Knicks tickets, both on Friday, April 3rd. 2 games, 1 epic day, no compromises. To enter, find the contest tile on the ESPN New York app and submit your entry, or sign up in person at select Wild Turkey events happening around the city. It's brought to you by Wild Turkey Bourbon. When you know it's right, don't change a damn thing. Got to be 21 or over. Enjoy Wild Turkey responsibly. You want to do a little baseball conversation?
Oh, I would love to talk baseball.
You like baseball.
I love
You're a big baseball guy.
Yo, does it feel like baseball starting next week?
No, it doesn't feel like it. It is starting next week. Well, honestly, you asked the question, I say no, it doesn't, because it doesn't feel like we're less than a week until opening day. And part of that is because of the World Baseball Classic.
Which you enjoyed.
I enjoyed it, sure. But the reason I say that is because, like, when the WBC was going on for those 2 weeks or whatever, it felt like spring training was not. It's like it didn't even exist.
Yeah, because we were all focused. Like, these games had more meaning. Like, there was more significance. And so we weren't really paying attention to those games. I just gotta say this, though. As far can we all of the people who had the take, well, the Dodgers are ruining baseball, have been proven incorrect. Because there is now a conversation being had, like there's so much momentum around baseball. A lot of that then has to do with the Dodgers, who 2 years ago won the World Series, followed that up by winning the World Series last year, and then had 2 major splashes in free agency, and then we get to the World Baseball Classic. All of this is fueled by what the Dodgers have done. So if there is this momentum, you got to give them credit, man. They're not ruining baseball. We like dynasties. We like teams that, whether you love them or hate them, there's just a strong emotion and passion you feel about them. So I think that what the Dodgers have done is great for baseball.
Absolutely. Because and not only that, forget about the competitive nature and everything. Sports at the end of the day is entertainment, right?
Absolutely.
Any television show, any movie, any work of literature that you might partake in, there's an antagonist, there's a protagonist, there's a good guy, there's a villain. You need villains. You need the bad guys. So even if you don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to baseball, you need a team to root against, even if your team's not there. Dodgers are that team every October, right? You don't like the way they go about their business, but it might rope you in and make you watch because I got to watch to root against them. Duke is probably that team in college basketball. Everybody watches to root against Duke.
The Chiefs in the NFL were
Chiefs
that
in the
team.
NFL, or some people the Cowboys in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that.
And it's also why like this year is so fascinating. Them going for 3 straight wins and, potential lockout looming. Like if that, I don't think that's going to happen, but like, there's there's going
to be a lockout.
You think we're going to end up missing games?
I don't know about missing games, but there will be a work stoppage. Remember, there was a work stoppage the previous
COVID year.
CBA. No, it was just after. It was when was the last CBA? It was going into was it 22? 22. Buck Showalter and the Mets won 100 games. Lost to the Padres. Okay.
Yes.
That offseason. Remember, so the winter of 21, when the expiration of the previous CBA going into 2022, there was no movement from like December to February, March, whatever it was. And it was just that. Remember, spring training started and like they still didn't have a deal. So, yeah, I think we're headed to at least that minimum.
I guess, let me correct it. What I meant was I don't think we're going to be missing games.
I hope not, but I can't say with certainty.
I don't think we're going to be missing games, but
because remember, Tony, like we don't know what's going on with the Players Association. Tony Clark hired his sister-in-law, and like the whole thing went haywire now. So I know you have a new leader, but is that going to change negotiations? I don't know.
It would be a terrible time for like. There's no good time to have a work stoppage or have your season be upended, right? But this would be terrible considering all of the perceived momentum. Dodgers, World Baseball Classic. You can't have that. Like I go into this year with just so many expectations, and part of it, I guess, is a New York bias because like both of our teams are expected to be good, but you got the Dodgers, you got what's going to happen with the Blue Jays fresh off of their World Series appearance. You wouldn't be shocked if the Red Sox, made a run here. I know that people are high on the Mariners. Like there are so many teams and so many just great stories that you come into the season with that it gets you excited for what's to come. So I'm looking forward to next Thursday.
Wednesday, technically.
Yeah,
Yankees open Wednesday night. Netflix, baby. Netflix.
Let's just stop complaining about it, please. Guys, this is just the way of the world.
Well, it's the new way of the world.
Just adapt, man. We're going to watch these games.
But it's easy to say just adapt. Let's be real. Do you want to go? Because the NBA, to me, is as bad as any of them right now. Like, you don't know. You need a freaking roadmap to be able to. If I want to watch a game, like, is it on this channel? Is it on this streaming service? Is it this? Is it that?
Dan. All you have to do is go to your ESPN app, look at the schedule. It tells you where the game is. It's not like you're flickering through channels. Oh, is it here? That no one's doing that.
But then here's the problem.
No one's doing that.
But then
it's not the
any
60s.
streaming service, then I have to have that on, and I can't multitask and watch something on my cable and so on and so forth at the same time.
It's 2026. We're complaining.
No, not adjust. I'm paying for all these different things to have. I shouldn't be precluded to watch them because I have to lock in on just one particular thing because it's streaming. You know what I'm saying?
But you also have tablets and laptops and phones where you can set up your multiple devices. Let's just get past. This is the way of the world. We're going to complain about it, and it's useless because nothing is changing. So just
But do you like spending more money?
No, of course not.
Then you should complain about it. You could complain about that.
But what's it doing for me?
We complain about traffic.
How's it changing it? But come on, that's a real scam, the traffic situation. But in the end, what's it all doing? Like, is any of it changing? No, it's not changing.
No, it's only actually getting worse.
Yeah. So let's just go with it. We got your team. I checked the odds. I think the Mets might have like the fourth best odds to win the championship. The Yankees are second. So high expectations. Let's go into it with a joyous feeling.
I wonder how much in the baseball season this year the pending labor dispute is going to be hanging over baseball. Right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest. It might be the biggest story, right? Because we're not going to get a resolution prior to next offseason.
No.
Like, this thing is going to carry over.
It's going to go to December. I think it expires December 1st. So
yeah, it is the biggest story of the baseball season.
So the real quick, I just wanted to hit on this because we were talking about this with the WBC. And I know we're still a few days past it and, blah, 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 blah. But, like, there seems to be this takeaway about the whole thing with, the United States, their approach. For instance, did they really try to win? Is it a legitimate competition? People still skeptical about it. And I was one of those guys, for basically the duration of it leading up to this particular tournament. When you see a tie game going into the ninth inning, we got our best reliever who's not coming into the game. Tie game in the ninth. Why? Because the Padres asked if Mason Miller was not going to pitch unless it was a save situation. And so the team had to adhere to that. But does that really make it a legitimate competition? And my point is that, like, a lot of people kind of looked at the United States, looked at their body language throughout the whole thing, compared it to other teams, other countries, and you saw how emotional it was for Venezuela when they won. So Logan Webb, who's on the Giants and was part of Team USA, one of the best starting pitchers in the game, he spoke to somebody from the San Jose Mercury News, and he said, I feel like there's a narrative that we didn't care. That's complete bleep. I think we probably care the most out of every team. We do things in different ways than some of the other teams, but we care a lot. I don't know if it was the players on that team that people should be angry about, that they don't care. I got to be honest with you. I just think, by and large, the fans of baseball, Major League Baseball fans in this country, are the ones that probably just didn't care as much about this tournament.
Correct. I was one of those guys, by the way. Up until
and guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's not built into the fabric of our sports watching experience to care about things like this. Up until Sunday, DR USA, I was like, why should I care about this?
Right.
But then it took on a life of its own, right? Like, social media plays a big part. It's a major story. It's, for us, Judge versus Soto. Then you get the controversy in the end, which created this buzz and this firestorm, which I guess ended up being great for the World Baseball Classic. And now the crescendo is Venezuela USA. But here's the problem with what he said. It's hard to, if you're going to say our perception of Team USA is wrong, you guys actually did care, that's fine. We can't argue that. Like, how are we to prove you wrong? When you go a step further and say, we cared more than everyone else, and on your resume is guys literally leaving to go return back to their spring training facilities, that's where you lose the argument to me. You had people not pitching. You had people leaving the team. It's hard to say you cared more than every other country when that happened.
But by the way, that's also their right too. Like, if I'm Tarek Skubal, and you're talking about Tarek Skubal, okay, who came, he made one start for Team USA in the prelims, and then he didn't pitch again for them. He went back to camp with the Tigers, and then he came back in and sat in the dugout for the semifinals and the finals. And he said he was going to do all of this. So it's not like it caught, everybody else by surprise. Like, this was the plan. Problem is, I'm putting myself in Tarek Skubal's shoes. This is arguably, even with a lockout looming, this is the most important year of his professional life. He stands to earn in the neighborhood of $400 million if he goes out there and pitches like Tarek Skubal this year. I wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize my earning either.
But by the way, I'm not criticizing him. I'm not criticizing him at all. What I'm saying is, if one of the players on Team USA is claiming that, I don't even know how we would measure this, but we care more than every other country. You can't then have your best players not pitch.
Right.
Like, that doesn't add up. Like, the math ain't math in there, my G.
Right. And like I gave you the example, like, why is Mason Miller, like, not in that game on Tuesday night or whatever night it was?
Which, by the way, did we figure out how did it make sense? Like, he's able to pitch if it's a
save situation.
A save situation, but if it's a tie game, Mark DeRosa just didn't shine himself in glory.
Well, no, that was the Padres. So you got to ask the Padres because like, I know it's easy to kill DeRosa and everything, but like, they're going to adhere to the clubs. Like, I on the baseball show a couple of days ago had Jim Leland on. And Jim Leland, a Hall of Fame skipper, he was the manager for the United States when they won the Baseball Classic in 2017. And I asked him something along those lines, and he said, I said, like, how do you straddle that line of making sure you satisfy what the clubs want versus trying to win the game and trying to win this tournament? And he said, first and foremost, we're going to adhere to the club's wishes. So that's, I guess, the MO going into this thing that you got to be cognizant of.
But then, so that means that he was not going to pitch regardless of whether or not it was a save situation or not. If you're adhering to the clubs and what they want, you're acquiescing to that, he shouldn't be pitching.
Well, maybe what if the club told him he'll let him pitch in a save situation, but not if it's a tie game?
But there's no difference in that because you can still win the game whether it's a save situation or not. What's the difference between you pitching one inning to keep your season or your team's season alive to get to the next inning versus a save situation? There's no difference.
Well, I mean, it could be.
From the standpoint of I want him to only pitch if we're going to win the game. But if the manager decides he's only pitching one inning anyway, then there's literally no difference.
Well, let's say, for example, if they had tie game, not even starting a clean inning, like if he comes in and he inherits traffic, like they got a jam going on, they got second and third, one out. And I got to get my best guy in there to put out the fire. I guess they didn't want him in that situation, but if it was, hey, let's have him start a clean inning with nobody on base, which is what he's accustomed to doing anyways, okay, we're okay with that. I hear what you're saying, but you'd have to take that up then with San Diego. And why was one thing okay and one thing wasn't? Right? Like that you have to ask them.
There's an inconsistency.
There's an inconsistency with the whole thing. And look, I was you. This was the 6th World Baseball Classic? The first 5, I think I only watched one game in the first 5 of them, and that was that U.S.-Japan final from the last time when you had, like, Trout and Ohtani, the showdown at the end of you know what I'm saying? Like, I watched that. Otherwise, I couldn't be bothered. And then, as I said, like, a couple of weeks ago or whenever it was with the United States, they got caught with their pants down, that they didn't know the tiebreaker rules and the way they approached that game against Italy, I said, if they would have got bounced, to me the disaster would have been if they didn't make it out of pool play, which they wouldn't have if Italy didn't help them out right against Mexico, because they could spin it 6 ways to Sunday. Nobody knew the rules. Mm-hmm. So if you're a guy like me and anybody else out there that was on the fence about the World Baseball Classic, and now the team, the governing body, the people in charge just basically told you they themselves didn't know the rules, when for the last how many months they're telling us how great this tournament is, how important it is, it's best against the best, the players telling me how special it is, Fox telling me how great it is, but the people in charge couldn't be bothered to learn the rules, then I'm out for good.
And that's another thing. Yeah, you can't tell, to your point, you can't tell me you cared more than these other countries when your manager didn't know the rules. Come on, man.
No.
You can't.
And come on. They didn't know.
Why not just own up to it? Like, hey, guys, like we screwed up. It only becomes a story with legs if you lie about it. And we know you're blatantly lying. So that drove me crazy.
There's a clip online. Like, we can't play the audio because it's not meant to be heard. You have to see it. It's a visual. Omar Lopez, who is the manager of Venezuela, he's also the Astros bench coach, okay? And Carlos Mendoza, who is also of Venezuelan descent, they know each other. Carlos was actually part of the Venezuela coaching staff for the last World Baseball Classic. I guess the Mets, I can't remember if they were playing the Astros yesterday or whatever, but they were at the same complex yesterday. Those two guys saw each other for the first time, and somebody captured this with a phone since the World Baseball Classic. The hug and the embrace that those two had, and you heard the tears and the way they were weeping, it's almost like if you saw a relative that you haven't seen or a loved one in 30 years, or you thought that they were no longer among the living only to find out that they were alive. That's the only thing that I can compare it to. And it just goes to show you how much it means to a country like Venezuela to win that tournament. Remember, Venezuela, if you, that's where you grew up, Ty, you didn't grow up with Major League Baseball there. You didn't grow up with a favorite team like we have here, like where it's based on professional sports. So they were waiting probably their whole lives for a tournament like this to be created, and to where you can measure your baseball in your country versus the rest of the world, as contrived as it might be. This is all they could base it on. So it means a lot to them. It's never going to mean as much here. Look, even if we won it, and we won this thing in 2017, but guess what? Great.
No one cared.
Nobody cares.
Look, my second favorite athlete of all time is Derek Jeter. I hated the comment.
Who's your first favorite?
Kobe.
Okay.
Which, by the way, let's just say that Kobe, instead of playing for Team USA, he grew up in Italy. He decides, I'm playing for Team Italy. I'm rooting in basketball. I'm rooting for Team Italy.
Really?
Yeah. Does that make me un-American? Kobe's my favorite player ever.
I gotta think about that one.
I thought about that this morning.
But the World Baseball Classic equivalent to that is kind of what Team Italy was. It's basically a bunch of major leaguers who aren't good enough to be on Team USA, so they're like, hey, our last name ends in a vowel. Let's play for Team Italy.
Which would not be the case in basketball.
No, definitely not. Especially not somebody of Kobe's caliber.
Yeah, so Kobe playing for Team Italy, I'd be rooting for them.
Well, what was the deal with Joel Embiid?
Yeah, that was weird.
He's good enough to be on, or was good enough to be on Team USA.
He just decided to stamp, Team USA.
Yeah.
Which
what was it?
terrible.
France and then Nigeria. What was the other? Was it Cameroon or Nigeria?
Cameroon. Which you're not even healthy enough to play for the Sixers, but you're playing in the Olympics. But anyway, I didn't like what Jeter said. It came across as tone deaf, privileged, and like this overall misunderstanding of why it means so much to these guys. You can't say only people who haven't played in World Series feel that way. When Kike Hernandez, he won 3 with the Dodgers? He said that. The Judge talked about the energy in the atmosphere. He's it's hard to, as an American, understand where they're coming from. So instead of just pleading ignorance, we got to have these strong takes about it. Instead of just saying, you know what? Hey, you feel how you feel, I feel how I feel. None of us are right. You have the right to feel how you feel about the tournament.
See, here's a lot of people wanted to compare it to first and foremost other sports international competitions. It's not the World Cup. Let's get the World Cup is the number one tournament in the world. Not just soccer. It's the number one sports tournament in the world. It's the biggest sport, and this is their it'll never be anything close to that. It's not even what, for example, Olympic hockey is in terms of the international stage and the significance of that. This is something that they literally made up out of thin air, 20 years ago.
But it's growing.
It's growing.
And for a lot of these guys, and you can disagree with it, it's bigger than a World Series for them.
Some of them it
how
is.
You feel, but it's they're allowed to feel that way.
Who
the hell are we to tell them they can't feel that way?
But on the surface, for me, why it'll never be among a million reasons, but you win a World Series, that's the culmination of 162 games, a 6-month grind, right? Then another month of playoffs. And then if you're the last team standing, that's the ultimate achievement.
But
this is 2 weeks, 7 games. And by the way, once you get down to the final whatever many games, it's single elimination. You know what I'm saying? If the U.S. played, we don't know the answer to this question. If the U.S. played the DR in a best of 7, who wins the series? If the U.S. plays Venezuela best of 7, who wins? We don't know the answer to those questions.
That's fine, and you can say it's the culmination of 6 months. For Vlad Guerrero Jr., it's actually the culmination of 27 years.
Right.
That he's been working to get to this point where he can represent a country where without them and without all that they did for him, he wouldn't be here. And so that's why, like, to perspective, we just won't ever be able to understand it.
And Vlad Jr., if he wasn't good enough, he could have maybe snuck onto Team Canada's roster. Think about it.
Yeah.
Right? 800-919-3776, the telephone number. Still got a lot more to do. We'll go sideline to sideline as well. We still got our feel-good moment of the week. Dan and Ty, and your calls here on ESPN New York.
Fifth-seeded St. John's kicks off their March Madness tournament in San Diego against 12th-seeded Northern Iowa. Coverage begins today at 7 on 1050 ESPN.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. This month, you'll be feeling March magic when you win your share of $50,000 cash during our Rainbow Riches drawing. Be here every Wednesday in March from 2 to 7 p.m. Each hour, one lucky guest is drawn to win up to $5,000 cash. Earn entry starting at 12:30 p.m. Come chase the rainbow every Wednesday in March, where Long Island wins at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone you care about, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
New year, new season, same goal. Feel good and stay in the game. But if neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica is holding you back, it's time to handle it. I'm Bart Scott, and I'm telling you to call Dr. J. Shaw at Samwell Pain. Dr. Shaw is an Ivy League trained, double board certified, and he specializes in getting people back to living pain-free. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical, image-guided treatments that work. Same-day or next-day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. Stop playing through pain. Go to SamwellPain.com. Relief starts today.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2026 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Preferred with all-wheel drive for $259 for 36 months. Or buy with 1.9% APR for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN TN142673. MSRP $37,300. Zero security deposit. 1.9% APR for $28.60 a month per $1,000 financed. Ends 3/31/26.
25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears. Check it in a year, check it in 5. This ain't optimum 5, but price is still alive. 25 a month, 5 whole years. Same sweet number in your ears.
Get Optimum famously fast fiber internet. Optimum.com/25 for 5. Or call 8884-OPTIMUM.
Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
50 years from now, will jeans be wide or skinny? Will email still exist? Will guac still be extra? One thing is certain. If you won the new Millionaire for Life from the New Jersey Lottery today, you'd still be getting $1 million every year for life. That's enough money to say, bring it on, the future. I will have that guacamole at any price.
Play the new Millionaire for Life today. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Hi, this is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates, the injury firm. I've talked about how a construction accident took my father's leg. The heavy prosthetic he wore looked nothing like the high-tech limbs we have today. It was crude wood and metal, held together by bolts that dug into his skin and left painful ulcers. But the thing I remember about my dad is how he never complained. He put on his prosthetic leg and he went to work. He coached my baseball teams, danced, sang karaoke, and even loved to travel. He may have limped, but he always held his head up high and he lived with dignity. At D'Agostino & Associates, I spent over 35 years building a law firm that helps accident victims and those in need of their Social Security disability benefits. We fight till our clients get the money and dignity they deserve. So call us today at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey. So don't tell me personal injuries aren't personal. I know what they can cost a family. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. D'Agostino Law, Bite Back.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-433-8909. 800-433-8909. Again, that's 800-433-8909.
Dan and Ty, ESPN New York, on this Friday at 800-919-3776. Mets coming up at 1. Michael's show going to be on the app this afternoon?
That's going to be a stream-only vehicle. That's correct. And it's also going to be on YouTube.
And YouTube as well, of course. Let's go to the phones before we do a little sideline to sideline. Let us say hi to Felipe in the car, who's up next year on ESPN New York. Felipe, good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Good. How you doing, my friend?
Good.
First time ever calling one of the shows, but I had just an opinion about, as you were mentioning, the WBC versus the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I am a U.S. citizen, and my children are not. But I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. In the perspective that I see it from, these people, the reason why they say it means more than the World Series is because to them it means more. It's not, well, they play the World Series, they play for money. It's a job. They go to work, and yes, it's a tremendous achievement because it is a long season. But when you play for country, you play for pride. It's not about the money. It's about your roots and your people, what you're representing.
No, you're right. Felipe, you're right. And we understand all that. Trust me, we do. I guess that the skepticism that some people look at as far as maybe not going all in on the tournament is that there's a lot of, and Ty, I think you would agree, like it's a lot of still kind of like making it up as we're going along type stuff with the WBC. That's all.
For sure. And look, we don't know that progression is always linear, but just based on what we just experienced, maybe, a decade from now we're having a different conversation as far as like how Team USA and fans of us Americans feel about this tournament. Because I think, like, and this is where it's going to get tricky for Manfred and all the people who are making these decisions, like when to have it. Is it at the All-Star break? Is it at the end of the season? Like, that stuff matters too.
And the other thing, too, like that I keep coming back to is that, like, it's not the best players. It's not. You know what I mean? Like, think of how many guys are not part of this thing that weren't in the WBC because for whatever reason.
But it was still, like, the most talented lineup we've ever put out there, right?
Well, I mean, but, like, for example.
Top to bottom?
Like, God love Nolan McLean. And I hope that he's, a star in the making and he's going to be the ace of the Met rotation for a decade. I would love nothing more than that. But based on merit, he probably should not have been one of the starting pitchers on this team.
Not probably. He shouldn't have been.
Of course. You know what I mean? Like, think about how, like, Garrett Crochet wasn't on this team. Zach Wheeler wasn't on this team. And that's just a couple of dudes right off the top of my head. You know what I mean? That are more accomplished big league pitchers. You met Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal made one start. He's like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm good. Right? Like, think of how many dudes, like, on the Puerto Rican side, like Lindor, Carlos Correa, other dudes, like, they weren't playing in this thing.
Javi Baez.
Javi Baez.
Your guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think we'll get some momentum. Can I quickly talk about the Judge aspect to it?
Oh, Judge. I thought you said the
Judge
Jets.
aspect
what do the Jets
of it,
have to do with the WBC?
Yeah, so I don't think that it is unfair coming off of this tournament where in the last two games he just didn't show up to question his clutch gene. And look, I'm a Yankee fan here. I'm not going to sit here and be told it makes me less of a Yankee fan or I'm unappreciative or I'm disrespecting Judge. No, because he's got a history now that goes back to 2017 when he made his debut, his full season debut, that tells us in the biggest moments, he doesn't exactly show up. And that's not unfair to say. A 3-time league MVP, one of the greatest baseball players we've ever seen, hitting .234 in the postseason is not good enough. And Dan, that's not unique to Judge. We've been having these conversations about Lamar Jackson. We've said it about many players. Josh Allen, LeBron pre-Miami. When your best is required, you have not met the expectation, and that's not disrespectful. That's not unfair. That's not a lack of appreciation. Across sports, we do this. We did it with Clayton Kershaw. What's up?
They both could be both things could be true. What was the narrative about Shohei Ohtani before he went to the Dodgers?
Absolutely, he wasted career with the Angels.
What about Mike Trout?
Yeah, 3 playoff games for Mike Trout.
And Mike Trout, and obviously he's not that player anymore because of injuries and stuff. But Mike Trout was on a Aaron Judge type streak. He won 3 MVP awards.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the best player of this generation. He was the next Mickey Mantle, basically.
Yeah.
But because and baseball's different. Baseball, you're just one of 9. You know what I mean?
But the difference with Trout and Judge is we can acknowledge Trout played on bad Angels teams.
He was part of a bad organization.
Yeah, you don't say that. You don't at all look at the Yankees that way. The Yankees
no, definitely
are
not. But
a
remember,
perennial contender.
You had Trout and Ohtani as teammates.
Yeah.
For how many years? And they won poop.
Yes, but Dan, had those teams been going to the playoffs and Trout hit .230, we would have been saying the same thing about him. That's just how we do sports, man. If you're the best player in your sport and you consistently come up small, or in comparison to what we've seen you do during the regular season, you fall short of that, you leave yourself subject to criticism. That's just how we've always done it, man. Kobe went through that. LeBron went through it. Magic Johnson, after winning a championship, went through that. The whole Tragic Johnson thing. That's just how we've always
went through that.
Peyton Manning
went through that.
Absolutely. So it's not unfair. Steph Curry won 3 championships, right? And then the was, haven't exactly seen him be great in the NBA Finals, which is why 2022 was so important to him. That's after winning 3 championships. Judge hasn't done.
Right, the first one, with the first championship they won, Andre Iguodala was the MVP.
Yeah.
Steph wasn't great.
And so he needed 2022 to, round out the legacy. So I just think, as a Yankee fan, love Judge. He's great, man. He's awesome. I'm not one of these idiots that's like, you got to trade him. No. But it is fair to question in a big-time spot, do you trust him to come through? And yes, he has sometimes, Class A and then the home run against the Blue Jays. But more often than not, he hasn't.
Like I said, I think both things can be true in that argument. But I don't lose so much sleep over that whole, the big stage and the performing, because the overwhelming majority of your career as a baseball player, because we're talking about Judge, right? As a baseball player, you play 162 times however many years your career goes. That's an incredible amount of games. So that's going to represent, if you're lucky, 85 to 90% of your output, what you're evaluated on. Right, if you want to care about legacy, Hall of Fame, for example, Hall of Fame is going to judge you on the overwhelming majority of the number of games, which is your regular season performance, right? And the playoffs, it's just such a small sample size of it to where, okay, if that doesn't match up with the greatness of what you've done in the regular season, I have a hard time holding somebody's feet to the fire over the diminishing returns there.
But it's not just about it not matching up. I don't think people are arguing that. We're saying it is a significant drop-off. Every category, batting average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, all go down. Strikeout percentage, way up. So it's not that he's just worse. He won the batting title last year.
Yeah.
He's hitting 236 or 234 in the playoffs. Like, that's a
234
problem.
and getting you a batting title.
That's an issue. And you can say, Hall of Fame judges you based on your body of work, but what is the first thing that comes up in the MJ LeBron conversation? 6-0. That's not regular season. That's the postseason. That's the NBA Finals. Magic and Bird, same thing. Like, what you do during the playoffs is what is going to stand out on your Wikipedia page and separate you from great players. Separate you from great players as you are just an all-timer.
But we got to hit a break. But the basketball, baseball thing, though, it's different in the sports sense of one guy makes more a difference in basketball compared to baseball.
Sure.
You're 1 of 5 versus 1, and they don't even got to pitch to you. If they really want to be picky about it. You know what I mean? They put up the 4 fingers and put you on base, like the Barry Bonds treatment.
Which would be better for Judge's legacy, and that's not the case. They're pitching to him, and he's not coming through.
Probably. 800-919-3776. Quick timeout. We come right back. Dan and Ty here on ESPN New York.
This is the Michael K. Show.
Nobody comes through 100% of the time. The greatest players in the world, the best basketball player in the world, misses a shot with the game on the line. The greatest quarterback makes a bad throw. And baseball is the one sport where failure is done more than success. You gotta stop. I'm going to tell this one little thing to Yankee fans. If you don't like Aaron Judge, then you're really not a fan. You're kind of a jerk.
The Michael K. Show. Weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Hey, it's Michael K., and I love when I get to talk about my friends at PC Richard & Son. It's a local company, family-owned, and I trust them, and you should too. Right now, get tax season savings, up to 35% off select categories, plus save an additional 8.875% off hundreds of items throughout the store. And in-home delivery is free. Great savings, great service. It's what they do. Get tax season savings at PC Richard & Son today. Some exclusions apply. Free delivery on mattresses, $399 and up, excludes Manhattan.
Right now, FanDuel's dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to learn more. Right now, FanDuel's dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. But don't wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. 21 and over in physically present New York. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Attention New York Verizon mobile customers. Score a massive win with award-winning Fios Home Internet for an incredible $20 a month guaranteed for 3 years. Switch today for savings you can count on. Call 1-800-VERIZON now. For new Fios customers with AutoPay, mobile and home discount enrollment required. 3-year price guarantee applies to the Fios base monthly rate only. Additional terms apply.
Rich Eisen here. For small businesses, every hire counts, and so does your time. Hiring can quickly become overwhelming, from sorting applications to figuring out who's truly qualified. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps. It streamlines the process so you can focus on connecting with the right candidates, not managing the noise. Hire right, the first time. Post your job and get $100 off towards your job post at linkedin.com/Eisen. That's linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It tastes just like the best birthday cake ever. Vanilla, buttery, frosting vibes. It's basically a party in a bottle. Confetti Craze makes it easy to turn any day into a party with its delicious birthday cake flavor and big birthday energy. And here's the best part. All cake, no sugar. I bring these tiny bottles everywhere to cakeify my day with tasty caffeine boosts. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
NBA fans don't just watch the game, they live it. So stream like you're courtside with NBA League Pass, your ticket to all the action. Watch your favorite team shine and catch the league's brightest stars and rising stars at the same time with multi-view on your favorite devices. From the plays you can't believe to the most live games and the drama that comes with it. If it happens on the court, it's happening on NBA League Pass.
Only select out-of-market games available. Blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
Hey. There we go. Just got paid Friday night. Party undone. In it right. Body shaking all around. No one thing. I'm getting down.
You want to talk about me being offbeat?
Hey.
That was, I mean,
oh my!
I tried. Like, I tried so. I stayed quiet. I tried hard. I kept telling myself, like, no, it's going to pick up. It's going to get going. Like, this'll, trust me, like, the plane's going to take off. It never took off.
Wait, was I offbeat for real?
It's not. There was a delay type thing.
Well,
and
that's
it just
not me.
Didn't match up.
That's technology. That kid.
I know
that's
it's
not me.
technology. That's why it's tough. Like,
man. I'm
Offbeat,
sorry.
the wrong words. Oh.
No, that wasn't the wrong word. What are you talking about?
Look, there's only one way to fix this. There's only one way to fix this, and Tom, I think you know what that is, and I need to hear it.
Just got paid.
There you go.
Friday night, party jumping, feel all right, booty shaking, dancing.
Oh man,
booty shaking.
No
that
way.
made my week. That made my weekend right there.
Is that really how?
Like I needed that to get into the weekend.
Man, is that really how we gonna start off the spring? Because it's a beautiful day outside.
Is it? No, but it's gonna pour tonight. I think they said.
Is that the word on the street?
So that is the word. I don't make the weather. You know what I'm saying? So perfect opportunity. If you don't want to go out and get wet, you can stay in, stay dry, and you can listen to the Knicks right here on ESPN New York as they have a light workout tonight in Brooklyn, starting at 7 o'clock. You can listen to the St. John's game on 1050 at the same time, both of them on the ESPN New York app, or you get the 2 TV screens and watch them as well. Like, you got options. You know what I'm saying?
Or you could just replay the pickleball match from earlier today, Rick
or
and
you
Dave.
can watch that, too. Is that still going on, by the way?
I have no idea.
That is over at the moment.
Did they win?
So that's all you needed to know.
At one point, I think Rick and Dave were going 4-1 in their tournament. I couldn't tell you if they won or not, but being that I haven't seen happy things said in the chats going on, I'm going to assume they took an L.
That would tell you all you need to know.
I don't know if we have that technology at our behest, but has there been any reports whatsoever of any hospital activity or ambulance activity near the establishment there where they were having the tournament?
You know, not quite. I haven't been able to tap into the 911 reports just yet, but I'm sure we're going to get a report on Monday morning whether or not somebody had to go to the hospital or not.
Gotcha. I know what we do have to do right now since it is the end of the week. It is time right now, right at this very moment, for the Feel Good Moment of the Week, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. And with that,
every Friday with Bart and Carlin, we highlight the Feel Good Moment of the Week, presented by the Samwell Institute for Pain Management.
Dan got absolutely steamrolled by the intro there from Ray Dinahan. Thank you very much, Ray, for doing that.
No, I blame myself. I don't blame Ray. I don't blame you. I blame myself. I need to be better as a human.
Dina Here's not a big fan of Dan Gross's voice. He's like, let's just get that out of here.
Wow.
You know why? Because he hears too much of it.
You were getting very wordy.
Did you get into the first part of that read, by the way?
I did. You want me to do it again?
Yeah, just so that way we didn't get it cut off.
It's time right now for the Feel Good Moment of the Week, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. They help manage pain.
There we go. The first Samwell Feel Good Moment of the Week. It's the first day of spring. It's beautiful outside. We didn't have a beautiful effort from Ty Butler singing, but don't let that put a damper in the start to your spring. March Madness going on. The locals in action. Siena, I said they were a local last week, and I got shamed for it, but they took Duke to the brink of elimination. Great game from Siena, the New York squad. My Hofstra Pride underway, going against Alabama today. Down with Tide, roll with Pride. LIU going up against Arizona. St. John's later tonight. What's not to be excited about? That is your Feel Good Moment of the Week.
Bravo.
That was pretty damn good. That was pretty good. And that was the Feel Good Moment of the Week, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. For a pain-free life, visit SamwellPain.com today. So we got all our real estate in there that we needed to do to pay the bills. This was a lot of fun today. I had a ball. Let me ask you a question, though, because when we all in the world kind of wakes up on Monday and, makes sense of what we saw this weekend, is St. John's still a part of the NCAA tournament?
Yes. Got to avenge what happened last year. Last year was such a disappointment. They've won 19 of 20, so I think they make it 21 of 22.
And as I said on Sunday when the bracket was announced, they might have got a raw deal, but I think it's a good matchup because Kansas is got issues. They are Jekyll and Hyde. They're not just going to be able to snap their fingers and forget all the drama this year with Peterson. Johnny's find a way. They advance to next weekend. Thanks to Ray. Thanks to Tom. K-Show next here on ESPN New York.
5th-seeded St. John's kicks off their March Madness tournament in San Diego against 12th-seeded Northern Iowa. Coverage begins today at 7 on 1050 ESPN.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
1877 Cars for Kids.